Hello there, everybody. Excuse me 1 second. My mic is doing something weird. Okay, that looks better now. I don't know if you'd be able to notice it. Discord may have covered it up. But yes, hello. Hope you're all doing well. We're going to do something weird today. But first, I do just want to point something out. Where am I? Okay, let's get rid of the starting soon thing. Where are you? There you go. You can go. So, this was the song I was playing. Rich Rags, one of their... the only real song I can find. And it just made me happy that, like, on this thing for Rich Rags, hey, we're right there. Because, obviously, they were on Warhammer Records. Which is quite fun, because it's a guest thing, so it's not messed up by the algorithm. And... yeah, Snipe Wib. There we go. Good. Okay. Right. So. Let me figure out my shit. Boom. Okay. So. What we're going to do today is we're going to have a look through some old RPG magazines, because I just have a weird fondness for it, and I felt like doing something a little bit different today. So that's what we're going to do. Also, whenever someone uses an emote, it should appear on the side of the screen, in theory. I wasn't looking at the thing when anyone used it, so feel free to spam emotes for like a minute and see if it works. I don't actually know if it's worth anything, or if it's a good thing or not, but I was messing around with it, and I thought, oh, that would be a fun thing to do for like 2 minutes. There you go. Good. Was it only the approved ones? Maybe. Because it didn't seem to activate with the one that had me or the honk. Anyway, this doesn't matter at all. I'm just being distracted by it. Anyway, yeah. What we're going to do first, though, because I'm dragging you all down with me. Well, first what I'm going to do is turn on this small desk fan. Which hopefully you can't hear. Haha. Sorry, we defaulted to British talking about weather. I know. It's been hellish recently. But anyway, I'm dragging you all down with me because I want to just have a brief talk about the new Transformers that went up for pre-order today. And then once you've dealt with that tax, then we'll get to the content you actually want to see. So first off, let's have some appropriate music. There we go. And Bosh. There we go. What do you have to show us the Giga Chad Optimus? Oh yeah. Optimus is the new Earthspark, the new series. They showed off his battle masked face, and it's a little weird. But yeah, so apparently this is up for pre-order, despite the fact it is literally a thing that is already available and you can buy in shops. And frankly, looks a bit ropey. But I do appreciate that it is not just a Seeker. It is actually a unique thing, the little Maverick helmet. But that wasn't what I was interested in. Of course, it was the Transformers Vintage Beast Wars Predacon Retracts that I accidentally opened twice. Couldn't have opened it once. I'm joking. Although, look at this boy. Look at this boy. Isn't he a fucking delight? Absurd creation. Oh man, I do want to get some of the. I really want Cybershark, but he's like I think he's the same price. He's 26 quid for a very old, not particularly good toy. Hey Longfang, I was wondering if this was the one that you had, because I remember you mentioning him in a description like this. So yeah, if you want him again, you can get him. Anyway, yeah, what I was actually wanting to look at was the Velocitron stuff that's been put up, because this is what I'm just gonna do right now. I want to see where how everyone feels about the different things. I will get you at some point, Megatron. Like I did recently just get the Earthrise Megatron for dirt cheap. I've already pre-ordered Cosmos. I was weak. Yeah, I can't blame you. I'm very close to doing so myself. But yeah, so we have Override, who, to my understanding, is from one of the what do you call them? Unicron Trilogy shows. So I don't really have any nostalgia for the character or the design. So I'm just like, well, this looks like doesn't look great, but apparently everyone's really happy about it. So like, I'm happy for them because apparently the characters are cool or whatever. But yeah, looks like a Sentai vehicle. A little. I mean, it is from a Japanese show, so it has those sort of those kind of design sensibilities. Like, I don't know, the alt mode just looks like mostly a pile of robot, but from my understanding, that is actually kind of close to what the original toy was like. So if you liked the original toy, this is basically that, but like with like modern articulation. So like, but yeah, that's not what I'm particularly interested in. But I know a lot of people are. Then we have Road Hauler, who, if I remember correctly, only exists because of a mistake of colouring in like one of the early episodes where they accidentally did a oh fuck, what's his name? Grapple. But they accidentally did one in green, so now there is a green one. I do like his screamy face. That does make me laugh. I like the scream face. But it's the same as the Inferno mold, so but he has a grabby hand, which is quite fun. Horror is mentioned in 3 parts. Does he actually get named? Or was it just the fact that there was a weird colour one? Because I know he's in there. Because I know it took an age before an actual toy of them appeared. Anyway. Then we've got Diaclone Universe Clampdown, which is exactly the sort of deep cut that amuses the shit out of me. Because if I remember correctly, because if this is supposed to be, this is the character of Clampdown, I think that means the Diaclone Lamborghini police car was the thing that was turned into Red Alert. He is quite fun. I do really like the head sculpt. I'm not sure if that's the one that Red Alert has, because I've never really looked deeply at him, but he is quite cool. I'm just a little reticent to get white ones. Cliff Jumper does say Hauler, pull him up. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I know, there was some confusion, like, because he just shouldn't be there. He's like, oh, he wasn't supposed to be a character, and he just ended up in the show somehow. I guess it's like fucking Bumper, that was like a thing that just slipped through the net and eventually became a thing. But in the G1 cartoon, and everything was a bit of a mess at that time. But yeah, he's quite fun. And then we have the boy, who's Cosmos, whomst I love, despite this pretty gaping hole in his arm, which legit is really bad. Like, that's like Cyberverse toy line level of like hollowness. But he is incredibly cute. And he turns into an Adamski-style UFO. If you don't know what that means, there was a guy called George Adamski, who is one of the people that got a lot of the early UFO footage. He was a fraud and a liar, but this type of flying saucer is referred to as an Adamski style saucer because it's based on the ones that he took photos of, or made more accurately. And if I remember rightly, Cosmos's name in Japan is like Adams, as like a shortening of Adamski. So there you go. Yeah, I'm very, very, very tempted to pick up Cosmos because he's just so cute. He turns into a cute little spaceship. Like, he's nowhere near as good as the third-party Legends one that Longfang has. That's looks very, very good. But this one is also a lot cheaper and deluxe sized, so you know that's cool. Then we've got Road Rocket, who I have no connection to. I'm not a huge fan of the mold, in all honesty, but I do like that head sculpt. It's quite fun. Where did it actually come from? G2. Okay. Yes, Longfang. Elita 1 comes out. Let me know when she arrives. She should be on the way. I said I was gonna get you them. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Then we've got Blur, who is I really like the robot mode, but I just cannot stand this alt mode. I hate it so much. It's just the fake wheels at the front. I just hate them. I know it's from the comic, but I hate it. I hate it so much. But I love the head sculpt. It's the IDW style. I like it. But yeah. Then we've got better skids because it's got more paint apps, and I really like the head sculpt. Who's again a Diaclone based character, which is fun. I'll wrap this up soon. I'm aware people are already turning off. Do not worry. This is just me getting out my thing. And then there is Robots in Disguise Universe Scourge. Oh yeah, long fact. I am also mildly annoyed that Burnout has more paint apps than Skids, considering I have Skids. As I know you do too. Now, Scourge is Oh, thank you very much for giving away a sub there, Buff Grinch. It's very generous of you. Thank you. So Scourge is giving me mixed feelings because, okay, so he turns into a truck with pink windows, and I don't know if you know this about me, but I fucking love Transformers with pink windows. And I am probably going to get him because of the pink windows. But I am slowly realizing that I think when it comes to like collecting Transformers, having like done a fair bit now, I'm starting to think that I just really like deluxe class figures, and anything bigger than that I don't get as much out of as I think I should. So I am a little torn like with getting Scourge, because he's a leader class one. I mean, granted, the actual dude is only Voyager class, which is, you know, if you don't know, is the sort of mid-size one. But yeah, I've just been slowly coming to the realization that I think I just really like deluxe classes. They fit exactly into my sensibilities, and once things get bigger, I just don't enjoy them as much. I don't even know why. Look at the paint apps on the head. He is very cool. I mean, it is, you know, it's of a certain era. Oh, see you, Shanus. By the way, how is your Gunpla adventure going? It's fun. I mean, it's not really a Gunpla adventure so much, as in, like, I made my first one, like, what, like, well over a year ago? And I've done a few by now. Oh, what the fuck? Excuse me, my mic is playing up today. Hello. Okay. It's playing up at my end. I think Discord. I think Streamlabs is cutting out the weird noises it's creating. It's doing its job very well, but it is making them, and I want to remove them. How good? But Gun Cannon is very good. I enjoy Gun Cannon a lot. He's perfect. I've got the original trio all built now. Gun Cannon, Gun Tank, and the Gundam. Although the Gundam's a high grade? Yeah, it's high grade one. And... or is it real? I always forget which way round it is. No, the two are high grade. Oh, fuck, what is it? Yeah, they're high grade, and the middle one's... is it real grade? Fuck, I don't know. I've completely forgotten how the grades work. It's a better one anyway, so it's more detailed than the other two. But yeah. Gun Cannon is kind of like Optimus, come to think of it, just kind of nice and simple. But yeah, so I've done a few. I've got a few more. Well, I've got one more left to build, which is a... you know what, fuck it, give me 1 second. This is driving me nuts. Yeah, real grade. It's real grade. High grade and real grade are the ones I've got. Yeah, okay, fuck it. But yes, I've got a real grade one left to do. Red Astray or something like that. Which I'm not sure what that is in canon. The three that I've built, I do know what they are, because Mobile Suit Gundam is the one Gundam I have watched and understood. But anyway, where was I? Yes, Scourge is cool. We'll probably get him. But also, he is big. And I am mixed about big things at times. Oh, I do like his trailer much better than the standard Laser Optimus. Just a slightly different colour, and I just think it works a lot better. But anyway, let's actually do what we came here to do. Boop. Boop. And let's open this up, and let's stop that music and begin some other music, which hopefully you can hear. We want to say thank you for demoing such art game a couple of weeks ago. I picked up during a summer sale. I had about 40 hours into it with most art road stuff in the past couple of years. Oh, well, I'm glad. I'm glad. Loving the psychodynamic by pronouncing Gundam that way. It's called saying Gundam as opposed to Gundam. I don't even notice. I also don't care. I saw the name written down and had it said to me as Gundam a million times before I ever heard anyone say Gundam. So it's one of those things that's wedged in there, and I end up slipping between the two at times. Because it's just in there and has been for a long time. Anyway, let's actually do what we came here to do. So, after 24 minutes. So, what I do... Oh, hey, Garrett. It is just me today. So, one of my hobbies, one of my self-destructive, terrible hobbies, is that I like to get collections of old RPG magazines. And, you know, I barely read them. I just kind of flick through them, and there's just something about the vibe of them that just really tickles me for whatever reason. There's just something between the way the art looks and the sort of tone of them. And just general weird shit in them is like a weird artifact of the time, and in no way ever problematic. I think there's an article in this one that will be interesting. But I don't know, I find them really, really fascinating for whatever reason, and I thought I'd go through some. You can come on this trip with me, and we can see what is actually in a couple. I've picked out 3 to look through. If we go through that really quickly, I'll just pull up some more. I have a lot of them, but the 3 different magazines. The very first one is The Dungeoneer, or more accurately, it's like a compilation of the first 6 issues of it. I think this came out in 1978, so it's quite a bit before I was even fucking born. So, let's see what we got. Dare you enter... This is the thing that the announcement tweet was referencing. Dare you enter the realm of the slime god? The slime god. I think buy this magazine to find out is I think what that says. Just realised this guy looks a lot like the quote-unquote good wizard from the Ralph Bakshi film Wizards, which is a movie you can watch for free on YouTube, and it's both not very good, but also other people should watch it because it terrifies me. Yeah, thank you, Anacromech, for the sub. Thank you very much. 26 months. Wow, thank you. Wizards is great. Also, bad, but it's a fun concept. Oh, thank you, Titan. Thank you, Titan. I'll keep an eye open for that. Oh, and thank you, Grox, for the 53-month sub. Jesus Christ, thank you. Wizards does have backgrounds by Ian Miller. Yeah, I actually, when I watched the movie, I actually looked it up because I was seeing some of the backgrounds. I was going, "This is real Realm of Chaos like looking shit." And so I went and looked up the background artists. Like, did any of these work in GW in the 80s? And the answer was yes. Yes, they did. But yeah, Wizards is interesting. It's like both kind of good and kind of bad at the same time. Fascinating movie. Has a wonderful anticlimactic ending that I actually kind of really dig. But anyway, so we start off here with the whole thing. There's a thing about like publishing the magazine and stuff, which is not really relevant to be reading now. Although it is interesting. There being like the sort of very, how can I put this, very like scrappy way that they word everything. Like, it reminds me a lot of like old GW stuff where it's like very unpolished, which I find quite funny. Let's go past the publisher statement and okay, so table of contents. We're not even going to look at that. Okay, the Arcane Elders. Okay, so this is just a story. Stories offers an explanation of the source and origin of magic in the Sovereign Conquest campaign. Okay, I was wondering if I was supposed to know what that is. No. A kind of way of saying did not hire a professional editor. Well, I mean, a lot of these things were very old and scrappy, and like there's a lot of very obvious like photocopying going on to like assemble everything. So, a moist velvet layer. I'm not going to read this whole story, by the way. I was just going to read a little bit. A moist velvet layer of night's blackness encompassed the thickly wooded forest. So dark was the sky, one could accuse the monarch of light of having dipped his crimson ship in the world's edge aeons ago. Oh, okay. These are people that read too much old fantasy. And only occasionally did this queen of luminescence peer down from her cloud-curtained chamber to observe those below conspiring dark deeds. Yet somewhere, buried deep within the seclusion of a myriad trees, the final glowing embers of a once larger fire gnawed into the remaining twigs and smouldering shards of green bark, casting dim wraiths of the figures beside it across the tiny clearing. Against a weathered boulder leaned a grey-bearded mage, worn, bent, and enshrouded in the folds of an ancient cloak. He aimlessly dragged his knotty staff through the pale ash and coals. Facing the ancient necromancer stood a youth of scarcely more than 20 summers, tall, gangling, with head bent. He remained silent. After an eternity's silence, the old mentor, Valmus, spoke. My son, thou hast learned thy lessons exceedingly well, and there remaineth but one last exercise to master, after which I shall set thee forth into the world to establish thy name throughout its uttermost reaches. But yeah. Quiet, Hairtoe! What the? Oh, there's a hobbit! Oh, I thought that was just a very strange sentence. Okay, we'll just skip past the story. I'm not going to sit here and just read you an entire story. Where didst thou get crystals of this type? That is a lot of text. Okay. Lucha Humming has summoned up a pair of mud ghouls. What the fuck are they talking about? Okay. Okay, let's get past this. Okay. Fatigue factors. On page 8 of Underworlds and Wilderness Adventures, under the move/turn in the Underworld, states the time must be taken to rest, so 1 turn every hour must be spent motionless. You see, one of the things that you get that I always find a little confusing coming into things like this particular this little magazine that's put out is that basically every later one I have read through has other games within it. Now this one is solely D&D. It does actually say that in the intro to it. But because most of a lot of the magazines have this habit of launching into talking about rules, and you have to get about 2 paragraphs in before it tells you what game it's even fucking talking about, that I started reading this and I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, I just assumed it was for like some esoteric game I have never heard of. Yeah, it's a hell of a cold open for an article. It reminds me a bit of the what was it called? The danger factor number that was in the old White Dwarf thing. I forget what it was called. To clarify the point of rest after strenuous exertion, a system of points called fatigue factors has been devised. These points reveal the amount of sustained physical exertion a D&D character can endure. This would be 1st edition D&D, by the way. The Monster Mark. That was it. Monster Mark is what the thing was called in White Dwarf. I do not have a tabletop role-playing game license for this. The cops may come for me, but they will find only sand and disappointment. Points reveal a certain amount of sustained physical exertion D&D character can endure. This factor can be modified throughout the game depending on the character's level and the amount of damage he sustained. To discover the fatigue factors that a character has, find out the average of the character's strength and constitution scores, then multiply by 10. Thus, a player with a strength of 15 and a constitution of 12 will have an exertion score of 135 FFs. This number is the amount of exertion that a character can do before he totally expend himself and die. Cool. Minimum number of FFs required to maintain life. A conscious level is 30. Okay, so you want to make a game where you can make it so that if you overexert yourself, your character can just fucking fall to sleep. Two other factors are important when tallying FFs are 66% and 50%. When only 66% of a character's FS remain, his hit probability, dexterity, and damage will be down 1 point each. When 55% level is reached, the above factors will be reduced another point to -2, regardless of how many FFs are gained throughout the advancement in level. The above percentiles remain a constant. Thus, if a character had 135 FFs at first level, then he would be at -1 hit probability, dexterity, and damage at 89 FFs and -2 when his FFs reach 68. Blah blah blah. Okay. However, there is also a maximum number that you can reach, or that the human body can reach. This number is usually large and can be determined by multiplying the original FF by 5. Okay. See, is this so? It's like the fatigue system in 5e. Yeah, but just unreasonably complicated, because that's just how games of this era kind of worked. Oh shit, you're right, I didn't even notice that. Like, when 66% and 50%, and then it says 55%. That's the other thing you'll notice about things from this era. Very little attempt to go over their work afterwards. So how many times can you wank before getting a long rest? Let's have a look. Let's have a quick skim through, because obviously I'm not going to read everything. Fighting makes a great deal on players' energy. FFs are lost at a rate of 5 points per melee round. More if the player is over encumbered. Using heavy weapons drain. Such weapons two-handed. Next come the FF drain for physical activities other than fighting. Here we go. If the player is carrying 50% or more of total encumbrance point, that also tires them out. If he's carrying less than 50%, he will tire at 2.5 FFs in the same time. When over encumbered, drain 10 FF per turn. Fucking hell, that means you just... If, like, having 135 is, like, normal, if you're over encumbered, you just fucking die? Yes, you are true. There is a reason why old games were considered games for nerds, because they had a lot of maths. This is not untrue. We got... As previously mentioned, over encumbers, double break. Next paragraph of info. The next paragraph in the info contains is a biggie as far as magic users. Oh, so you use it to do magic? Oh. You know, what, like, as people were trying to, like, figure out how they wanted D&D to work, and people were like, I love the yes, I've noticed where it says booty bag. We'll get to that. One of the things I think is just fascinating about, like, this sort of era, and where people are trying to figure out what they want D&D to be, and just in general how people and just in general, like, the way in which people talk about, like, homebrew stuff it's fascinating. If you read through this one before, just worrying about TOS. Don't worry, Longfang. I skimmed over all of them to make sure there wasn't going to be anything that breaks TOS. Don't worry. If old white dwarfs suddenly just have characters with their tits out, I was going to check. But yeah, I find it fascinating just how, because I am very sorry that I'm tangenting here to apologise for tangenting. But I'm just wanting to let you know I apologise. But I find it fascinating how they were just finding ways to, like, try and add realism and add this, as you just mentioned there, Agamemnon, a more simulationist kind of thing to it. And all they really succeed in doing is making the game worse, as far as I can see. Because they just, like, add these kind of, like, little things, and you go, this adds to realism, but in ways that you sit there and you go, I can't imagine doing this and having any fun, like, running with systems like this. But I wasn't playing at the time, you know. I would not have the context of having played modern D&D or any other modern RPG or war game or anything. I'd love to know how many people actually use these rules. I bet the number was approximately 3. I have often wondered about that when you see these, like, third-party rules. I think we actually mentioned that in one of the old things. I think it might have been the challenge video, where we talk about, like, you know, who would actually do this? Who, you know, like, I want to know if anyone's ever used these things. You have to imagine that this is one system amongst many as well. Each is clunky. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, if you're going to use a ton of these house rules together, you've just made an absolute monster. Like, you've got the already kind of clunky early rules of an RPG, and then if you're mounting, like, even just a couple of homebrew rules on the top, you're going to create something really, like, ungainly very quickly. By the way, thank you for the resub there, Dark Angels Fallen, and hello. Yeah, you pondered if anyone had painted an ice river guard. And we know the answer is now yes, because for one, people sent us pictures of ones that they'd painted. And two, someone did send us one that they'd painted themselves. We did actually get that in the PO box, which was really nice. Let's just go back to this. Everyone is thoroughly exhausted from fighting, running, necromancing, getting beaten by uglies. How does one recover all those lost FFs? The answer is quite simple. Rest! 3 exclamation marks, the sign of a diseased mind. You get 20... Sorry. Recovery can be made at the rate of 25 FF per 10-minute turn spent motionless. Not asleep, just spent motionless. There is one stipulation though. FFs lost through wounds may only be half regained until hit points taken have been healed. Okay. So, you've got this system that is also affected by your wounds, but is fundamentally different to your wounds, and you have to calculate separately. Fucking brilliant. Planking for rest, yes. Yes, arc. So yeah, a final FF loss in melee will not be felt until immediately fighting is finished because the presence of adrenaline in the body. Again, little touches that like are sensible, but when you've then now got to keep track of what you've lost but not apply it yet. Is this just Skyrim waiting? But indeed, I guess, yeah. And it says motionless, so you could be standing bolt upright but just not engaging with the party for 10 minutes. Like, the party's having an RP session and you are just standing bolt upright in the middle of the camp staring dead ahead, and then you just go, I am healed. Okay. Editor's note, this article has been edited to include changes from later issues. Oh, I'm glad that they refined this. The Arcane Crystal, the booty bag. The Arcane Crystal is a small green gem about the size of an acorn, sometimes a little larger. Although its market value is small, when the spell of the Elder's Id cast... Oh, it's not id, it's, they typoed, it should be is. Okay. When the spell of the Elders is cast in its presence, the gem will produce an oval gaseous cloud, approximately 3 foot by 9 foot, upon which will appear the living likeness of the Elder from whom the magic user gains his spells. If a magic user should lose, break, or in any other way be deprived of his crystal, he cannot summon the image of his Elder, nor may he gain new spells, excepting those gained through research. So this is just yes, just a fun item. Now, yes, this magic crystal has little value. Though they are usually given... Okay, the only places the world may procure a crystal, however, are from the other magic users or alchemists. Ultimately, magic users may only have one crystal at a time, and there is only a 5% chance of an alchemist having one or two. So basically, how do you feel about having a walkie-talkie to your boss? Which can mean that you can't gain new spells if you lose it. The headline of the next page unnerves me. What about those lovely ladies? Okay. Okay, everybody. I know what's coming up, and I want everyone to brace themselves, and we're going to just accept that this was written... What? Around mid-70s, probably? It's not a TOS violation, it's just a bit wanky. This article is devoted to women in D&D. This article devoted to women in D&D is written not to place limits on female characters or players, but to give a new dimension in which to expand and grow, provided specialities based on some interpretations of mythology and various works of fiction, with the fancy illustrations with the fancy introductions out of the way, delving into this author's opinions and ravings, as far as female character types are concerned, can without forethought continue. Okay. I've tried to delineate the fairly general attributes and prime qualities and prime requisites as they would pertain to a female character. The follow-up deals with 3 specific classes or subclasses of women. Everyone hit me up and tell me what subclass of women you are. Fighting women, female clerics, or daughters of Oh, so I was like, it's three subclasses: fighting women, female clerics, or daughters of Delphi, and Circeans. And it's female clerics are the daughters of Delphi. It's just another name for them. Sorry, the way that was written. Sorry, just the way that was written. Roten. It has already broken me. It is roten bad. Great thanks given to Mark Hendricks. Oh, good to see that not a single woman was involved in this. More information, at least. A note to those who have seen this magazine: our female characters' attributes and powers are in no way connected to another Mr. I noticed, and been created some 6 months prior. Oh, good. I'm glad to see that this man created women. Strength as a rule of thumb. Women are not built on a similar size scale as their male counterparts. Sure. Women may have up to 18 strength, but never naturally. Sorry, that's a comma. It's not a full stop. But never naturally beyond the first category. A woman of 17 strength suffer the loss of one of their charisma bonus points. There's a lot of people on the internet who would disagree with that, who consider very muscular women to be very, very charismatic. Women of 18 strength will lose both their charisma bonus points, but there is no charisma penalties for points of strength gained through magic or by a gift of a DM. No, at least intelligence, wisdom, dexterity, all no modification. Constitution +1 against adverse weather. +1 against adverse weather. Is there? Is this a type of, like, old school misogyny I do not know about? Is this, like, some weird old-fashioned, like, shit that I don't know, that, like, women aren't affected by rain? Or, like, women like wind? What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? Charisma. There's really no two ways about it. Most women have a slightly higher charisma as far as men are concerned. It's awfully heteronormative of you. So what was your name? Paul? To adjust for this, +2 is added to the charisma score of female characters. This bonus gives them a range of 5 to 20 on their charisma scores. This bonus is in effect only when they are dealing with male creatures. So, if you find a fucking Umber Hulk, shake your tits at it, and if it's a bloke, they'll be like, oh yeah, shake 'em for the lads, and you can just charm them. Because, as we all know, there is no such thing as a lesbian Umber Hulk. It's a bit of deep Dungeons & Dragons lore. Elven women receive an additional +1 charisma. Penalties for strength have been dealt with under strength. A warning to female characters should be made, though. A lot of those monsters in the dungeon have been down there. No. Paul, no, Paul. Let's hear about the 3 kinds of women. The 3 kinds of women. There are only 3. Again, any ladies in chat, feel free to tag yourself. Actually, no. There is more than the 3, because there's different subclasses of them apparently. What have we got here? Daughters of the Dragon. These women are the same subclass as martial arts monks. Okay. A martial arts clericess. Fuck off. May also be a prophetess. Daughters of the Dragon with prophetic abilities may prophesize oracle, attain the grand mastery, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Valkyries. This is more of a full classification rather than a subclass. It is just modified to fit women. In all aspects, this class is treated as fighting man. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah. Upon reaching the level of Amazon, 6th level, a lawful good maiden, in the strictest sense of fuck you, may seek out a unicorn as a mount, will serve her willingly until it is either killed or the maiden status is no more. Paul, go fuck yourself. Upon reaching 10th level Valkyrie, any fighting female will seek out to receive a Pegasus as a mount. The animal will receive no subdual, and I assume that's a first edition thing, and will bear and fight for its mistress until the death of either party. An elvish woman of 16 strength may reach a level 9th Valkyrie. Dwarvish woman of 16 strength or more may attain 8th level Valkyrie. Fighting women have no special powers. Yeah, we need to Paul, we need to have a little talk. Circeans, female subclass of magic users. Isn't it cool how women are a different species? Its ability begins at first level, blah, blah. Second ability, okay, let's go past this. Circean is immune to any poison she can manufacture. Okay. Okay, we've got a lot of different poisons. What we got? So they have to make a poison. I can make a sleep thing. A depressant. Cool. Paralytic. Stimulant. Poison. Aphrodisiac. The imbiber will fall in love with the first person or creature it sees after drinking the potion. That was better than I was assuming. Paranoia. Hallucinogen. Drunkenness. Drunkenness isn't really... It's not really... That's just... You've just given him hard liquor. That's not a potion. Poison 3? Ah, cool. I love how there's, like, sequels to Poison. Potion of Cowardice. Potion of Bravery. Have to go get a drink in a second. Beaker of Berserkers. Sleep 2. The sequel. Potion 3 Revenges. Hallucinogen 2. More powerful hallucinogen. Nasty giving reoccurrent hallucinogens. Oh fuck, that's like a real bad trip. Level 5. Poison 5. Insanity. Insanity. Causes the drinker to go insane. Potion of Pain Ease. Potion of Pain Ease. Potion of Pain Ease. It's a healing potion that doesn't heal you, but makes you feel a little better. It makes you feel a little better. You feel a little bit better? Yeah, it's alright. Stimulant 2, okay. Okay. Oh, a little booty bag. Skull staff. A staff with a skull on the top. Cool, thanks lads. It can be used to control undead. Okay. The undead must save versus magic, or else come under control of the cleric. Okay. Don't know enough about first edition to know if fight as man -1. Cool. Alcohol in D&D. Okay. Are we gonna be better off here? Is this gonna be? Oh fuck! It's by Paul. Okay. Okay, Paul. Let's see how you manage to fuck shit up. In most of the games played here at the Arbor, the best place to get information is in the local inn or tavern. since it is one of the few places that lawfuls, neutrals, and chaotics can all frequent in relative safety. Yeah, if you don't know, in first edition D&D, there was only the 3 alignments. There wasn't like the big grid of it. There was just, yeah, lawfuls, neutrals, and chaotics. Which I actually don't 100% mind as a concept, but that's because I am not really a fan of the alignment chart, because I think that characters are more 3-dimensional than can be decided on an alignment. Personally, I think it just restricts you from advancing the character a bit. I don't know. I know some people like them, but I've never played a game where, like, all the games I've played of, like, games of D&D, the DMs have basically ignored alignment charts, and at no point have I ever wanted, as it ever felt like the game would be improved by the inclusion of them. I don't know. Mobius, that's actually, how fucked up does something have to be before it bothers you? That makes sense. But again, if you aren't role-playing that, if you don't know that of your character, then, I don't know, it feels like that's something for you to role-play and not have stats for. It feels weird to me. You know what I mean? Anyway. One of the most effective ways to get information from the locals is to get them feeling friendly with a drink or two. Usually the player/characters join in the lifting of tankards, or if you were my barbarian Johnny, by getting up on stage and playing songs very badly. The following charts are based on... the point is, just how much fermented stuff can one's character imbibe before getting scotched out of his mind? The following charts are based on the constitution of these characters in question. Just how well can the holder's liquor is proportionally dependent on it. The relative effectiveness of various varieties of alcohol refreshments is somewhat arbitrary, but loosely based on the actual content of the Men and Magic price guide. These two may be changed to fit your particular game situation. Okay, so you determine the amount of alcohol that a character has partaken, and then plot it against the chart using a horizontal column that matches to his constitution score. Whenever the alcohol score crosses zigzag vertical lines marks A, B, C, or D, check the appropriate letter below. Alright. What? What? Okay. The zigzag vertical lines. Okay, those... Has that been lost in the photocopy? So in the horizontal copy, Constitution, and then... So when they pass the point, and that's how many... This is... Yeah, okay. Whenever you get alcohol score, crosses one of the zigzag vertical lines marked A, B, C, or D. I assume that means, like, there was lines there. Okay, so this point, so you start losing dexterity wisdom, and then you start losing more and more, and at a certain point, you have to roll whether consciousness is retained. Okay. At this point, the alcohol becomes a 1d8 poison. Okay, fair enough. Alcohol burns off at rates of 2 points per 6 turns, 1 hour. Hangovers may be treated at the DM's discretion. Okay. I am very confused. What is happening? I am very confused. Oh, you mean Paul in real life? Oh. Oh! Oh! Okay. Holy shit, and yeah, they worked on Quake and Donkey Kong for ColecoVision. Oh well, good for her. Good for her. One would assume that they They worked out whatever baggage that she had. One would hope. One would hope. That was not a plot twist I was expecting from the article about female characters that we read. But I mean, that's the thing. It was the 70s. Basically everyone. That explain their complicated thoughts on the women. Who knows? I would not want to psychoanalyze someone who has a life experience so disconnected from mine. But hey ho. So yeah, all right, okay. Pentacle Staff by Mark Norton, the same as above, but the control of demons. Okay, so just a demon staff. Okay. Another one from Janelle. The Room of Crocked Magic. The Room of Crocked Magic, better known as Malfunction Magic, Inspection B, number 4036, Gnome Division, is full of all kinds of magic. Cool. However, each one is not what it may seem to be. Every piece of magic in the room is somehow crocked, i.e. it doesn't work the way it was intended to. There are 30 gnomes in the room. They keep themselves busy by cleaning the room and inspecting the various magical items. There is a 30% chance that the gnome inspecting a particular item will be keeping notes on his findings. The actual notes will be in gnome. The following are magical items in this room. So I assume this is just a room for you to put into your campaign. This is the thing that, like I was saying, like they tend to just launch into stuff. Ooh, veteran. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. We shall talk no more about that was Janelle, wasn't it? About Janelle's apparently more complicated feelings on femininity than initially understood. So yes, one would assume this is just a room to throw in your things. Okay, so there are a bunch of weird things. So it has a half-finished scroll of protection from the lycanthropes. It has 2 malfunctions. It calls all lycanthropes within 500 feet, and it only protects from 50% of the lycanthropes. Okay, I like this. I like this. Potion of invisibility. 12 swigs, and the person will only become 50% invisible. Does that mean 50% opacity, or like only the top half of them is invisible and they're just a pair of legs running around like a Fresno Nightcrawler? Because I hope the latter. Sword +1. Chaotic will work as a +1 sword for 3 rounds and shatter. Potion of Growth. 11 swigs causes the user to become a giant idiot IQ 3. Alright, yeah. Split down the middle vertically. Okay, that is also a very strong idea. Potion treasure finding will lead the player to the biggest monster. Okay, I feel like. Okay, so I'm gonna be running like a one-shot. Or like a very, very short campaign of D&D at some point soon to help get someone into the game. And I think I might have to include all of these items. It's going to be annoying for everyone concerned, but I think I might have to include all of these. Armor +1 man-sized plate. Tends to glow in the dark. Armor, man-sized leather, weighs as much as plate leather. Dagger +1, fights with the same hit probability and damage as a 2-handed sword. Sword +1, goes limp in battle like a wet noodle. Okay. No shifting, well, okay. Reads magic, usually too late. Detects gems, but can't determine the sizes. Sees invisible objects, can't see anything not invisible. Speaks lawful, and mirrorman. Okay, cool. Man's really going for I can take 5 werewolves at the same time. Yeah, very much. Does that mean you can whip people with a floppy sword? One hopes. Potion, delusion. It becomes any potion that the drinker wishes. Interesting. Mace +1. When thrown, it will shoot like a rocket for 5d8 damage, but then becomes like rubber for 10 turns. Okay. Potion, human control. The user immediately places himself under the control of the nearest humanoid creature. 9 swigs. Sword +1. The sword is invisible so that it looks like an empty scabbard. Crossbow of speed. This bow is -3 added to the initiative dice when fired. It may be released and then the ensuing half -4 melee rounds occur. Well, okay, so it just fires really, really slowly, but in a... Manual of Golems. This book is for the manufacture of the straw golem. Other golems may be constructed from it, but they will fall apart in 10 days. Okay. Potion of Longevity. This potion will shorten a player's lifespan by 10 years. Fucking hell. Decanter of Endless Water. Instead of water, this vial dispenses a gooey foam. We had a lot of fun with the Decanter of Endless Water in a D&D campaign. The gnomes are willing to sell any and all of the above magic items. The prices will vary depending on whether the gnomes know what the item does or whether or not its value is a value or a dangerous crock. As a defense against intruders who mean them harm, each gnome has a small cylinder in his pocket which activates a death ray mounted on one of the walls. The death ray is 4.5 feet above the ground and makes 2 sweeps of the entire room. If the gnomes feel that they are being cheated on a deal, they may lie about the attributes of a magical item. Good, good. I like this. I'm sure it said at the start that they were only covering D&D, but Metamorphosis Alpha is a different game, and I believe it's one of the first, if not the first, sci-fi role-playing game. If I remember rightly, it's the one that's set on like a ship that is like a colony ship that's gone weird, and they don't know it's a colony ship anymore, and like a bunch of people on it have kind of regressed to like kind of a fantasy kind of level, but there's some people who still... yeah, the one with the space radiation in it. It pleases me no end that people who have watched that video remember it for that. So it's like D&D, but it's played and judged exactly like D&D, but it is definitely not like D&D in its basic nature. So it's D&D, but it's not like D&D. Okay, in D&D, one succeeds by gaining levels and the security that these levels bring through power. In Metamorphosis Alpha, the players only survive by gaining knowledge and devices found on a starship that the Starship Master has created for his or her players. Okay. The ship should constantly change as opposed to the levels in a castle or dungeon, which usually do not. The game is very open-ended for players, and that the player feels... in that the player feels can survive the... The game is very open-ended for the players, in that the player feels can survive the dangers of a starship gone wild. That was a sentence. Never before in any other game has the need for knowledge been so important. This is the other thing. Oh, hey, Cypher. Okay, fine, they did need an editor. This is one of the things I find that you find in a lot of the older stuff, which is that when D&D was first made, there was less of a focus on the roleplay. It was more a mechanical thing. So there's things when they talk about role-playing in older stuff that feel very weird, because you look at things and they talk about, like, you know, oh, you can do this, like, roleplay wise, like it's a thing you might not have thought of, but it's just how we play D&D now, because the roleplay aspect has been amped up. D&D is basically the opposite of, like, Warhammer, where Warhammer started off as a role-playing game and became a war game. D&D started off as more of a war game and became a role-playing game. I always find that kind of fun. Other factors: radiation, space radiation, of which all things are possible. Radiation created and continues to create many fierce mutations that roam the ship. It forms effective barriers. Basically, it's magic. Magic tomes and scrolls. More by Janelle. Let's see, is this worth going through? Just talking about books. Oh, here's something interesting. Comments on Those Lovely Ladies by a lady called Judith. Criticisms from the character attributes side to fighting women. I would accept the assumption that women have a higher charisma as far as men are concerned. However, you have ignored the complementary phenomenon that men have a higher charisma as far as most women are concerned. Secondly, I vehemently protest the deletion of the charisma points for women whose strength scores are 17 and 18. Most outstanding female athletes are often more sought after than other women. Again, we're kind of like reducing women to like objects, but hey, it was the 70s. Finally, some suggestions of more positive nature. Comparative studies of males and females on both strength and dexterity show that 1, women perform less well than men on average. 2, there are a smaller percentage of outstanding female performers. To represent female characters should take a -1 to dexterity and strength unless a score of 1 to 4 is made on 1d6. This disadvantage. Okay. Fun thing. Yeah. It's very 70s. It's, let's just say they moved a step along, like two steps forward, 1 step back. But for like the late 70s, honestly, the latter phenomena, females' greater resistance to environmental stresses of all types. What? This disadvantage can be balanced by the monotonal charisma and the constitution in general, not just against adverse weather conditions. The latter phenomenon, a female's greater resistance to environmental stresses of all type, has also been well established. Okay, right, okay. This is... Can women deal with weather better? Okay. Okay, so it seems like, looking at the things, now, I am not going to sit there and talk about the validity of these studies because I do not know, but there is a thing where there are a lot of studies that where people have said that due to a generally higher level of subcutaneous fat, it means that women can be slightly better at dealing with the cold. On average. Personally, I'd say that these are the sort of levels that are too granular to be able to put into D&D stats. But apparently, I do not know if there is any truth to that. I do not have the time to read through a bunch of scientific studies. But I assume that's probably where it comes from, is that idea. Because otherwise, that's weird. It's a bit like, you know, how... a good example would be for... A good example of something like... That would be the sort of difference that, like... So, in Universe... Do you feel the effects of different temperatures differently post HRT? Oh, well, thank you for the input. Could be a hormonal thing too, possibly. That is not something I like I say again. I cannot say. Thank you for the sub there, Busbar. Thank you. Again, it feels like something that like should be too granular to be in D&D. A good an example I would give is that in 40k, the bolters that humans wield and the bolters that Space Marines wield do the same thing. Like, mechanically, they are identical. In Universe, a Space Marine's bolter is better because it doesn't have to be, like, limited so a human can wield it, because a Marine can handle it at its most bolter. But the difference between those two things is too granular for a game. I would say that is on that kind of level. I would say. But it is weird that we did actually kind of finally realise maybe where that idea comes from. Frost wizards. More intelligent than their more or less magical brethren. What? Frost wizards. More intelligent than their more or less non-magical Okay. When she was saying that, I was assuming they meant wizards. So frost wizards are more intelligent than their non-magical wizard brethren, but they mean frost giant. A frost wizard is a frost giant wizard. Okay, I just had to read the next paragraph ahead. Okay. Again, all of these books always need an editor super bad. They launch into things, and then you get really confused for a paragraph, and then you go, oh. Treat them as normal frost giant, except they can take 1 extra hit die and live to be much older. They are slightly more intelligent looking than the average frost giant, whatever that means. Each frost wizard has used a certain number of... so just a big frost giant, but it can cast spells. Okay. So each level is a crag. Okay, that's fun. That's fun. So they can do a bunch of... Okay, their magic missiles are snowballs. That's cute. That's cute. I actually kind of like that. Icy Spear, Freeze Person, yeah. Ice Ball, which is a fireball. I'm sorry for this hurting all of the people who write professionally. Idiosyncrasies in D&D. Okay. It is often said that it takes all kinds of people to make a world, so why should D&D make an exception? A tendency exists in the game. I've seen the thing over here. Don't worry, we'll get to it. To make all rolled characters fearless Ubermenschen that fear no evil, fail no task, and have no weaknesses, thus ending up with an overabundance of James Bondage, Conan-esque, supermanic, blasé hero types. To alleviate the number of these shallow characters and create some really unique... I actually realised this was probably the only magazine I should be able to go through. Looking at the time, because it's taken me like an hour to go through like a third of this book. Maybe we'll skip through some of this a bit more. Some basic assumptions can be made. First, it would be unreasonable to assume that the average character might have anything but a relatively normal personality. On the other hand, it's rather difficult to imagine that anyone could live through the conditions encountered in dungeons, etc., could still remain completely normal. As we all know, every D&D party ends up with a bunch of fucking clowns, so this works out. Can we define what is normal, though? In fact, in some cases, the mental stability of some might be impaired. Such stress could bring minor to severe psychological or physiological alterations to the character. Henceforth, these strange aberrations shall be known as idiosyncrasies. They can be both a hindrance and a blessing. As a note to DMs, we have tried to give some idea as to outlines the idiosyncrasies by text. We encourage you to use, I say as if I've never made a typo and published it in a video. But you encourage you to use your imagination when applying them to monsters, characters, and non-player characters. How about a hypochondriac dragon or practical joking orcs? An EHP that stutters or an absent-minded wizard? What's an EHP? I don't know what an EHP means. Is this an old term? I'm not familiar. What are the benefits of bigotry? We shall see. We shall see. And his characters may have... Okay. So, idiosyncrasy. So, just hiccuping. Felix Unger. What does Felix Unger mean? What? Felix Unger is born 2nd of March 1946 in Austria, is a heart specialist who served as the president of the European Academy of Science and Arts for 3 decades. So, if you roll the right dice, then you can become... give me 1 second here. If you roll the right dice, then you can just become this guy. You can just become this guy. This, if you roll, you become this Austrian man. Okay. Normal. Alright, sure. What the hell? Slob, practical joker, political activist. Okay. Bigot. We'll see what these mean. Special mental disorder. Ooh, okay, these are going to get... We probably won't read through these, because these are probably going to be a bit worse. Phobias. Acrophobia. I don't know what acrophobia is. Claustrophobia. Nyctophobia, fear of the night, I believe. Or the dark, rather. Magiophobia. Phobias 2. The sequel. Insectoids. Oh, they couldn't be bothered to look up what the phobia for those would be. Allergies. You can just roll for allergies. Fear of heights. I think acrophobia is... Okay. Okay, hiccuping usually occurs in stress situations but can be constant. The quest might be in order for some temporary cure. It is usual, severely distracting, and annoying to player for 1 to 10 melee rounds, so it gives you -2 dex. Hit probability -5, AC -1, -10 for having hiccups. Alright. Felix Unger. Compulsively neat. Alignment always lawful. Often found cleaning dungeon rooms, sharpening swords, or rearranging a backpack during rest periods. His weapons are always excellently sharp, giving a +1 hit probability in the first 2 rounds of melee. He dislikes dirty jobs and is a meticulous mapper. An example would be J. Mark Hendricks, ex-roommates of the editor. Why is it called Felix Unger, though? A level 20 paladin just died of a peanut allergy. Fuck. Slob, okay, yeah. So, yeah. Has an affinity towards finding valuables in junk piles, okay. Requires an extra melee round to retrieve anything from backpack. Okay. Practical joker, incessantly tricks and teases members of a group, carries material for tricks and traps, and identifies them in a +1 or +2. Goes about kicking dead bodies, changing signs on doors, exploding stink bombs, and rustling chainmail. Enjoys making others look very foolish. Often found missing, takes lots of independent action. Or to put it another way, play a character who the rest of the party end up arranging to have killed. Political activist. This is, okay, political activist and bigot. These are the ones I was interested to see how these would manifest. Political activist. Definite revolutionary. I mean, it doesn't... Anti-establishment, that is... You can be an authoritarian political activist. You can be, like... There are liberal political actors. Anyway. Tends to cause trouble for group leaders, carries many scrolls and posters, occasionally carries carved slogans on dungeons' walls. Great ability at talking to people and monsters into doing things, and generally rabble-rousing. Voice has the effect equal to charming. Victim has +5 to saving throw, as against magic. Activist has +2 to his charisma. Okay. A bigot. Despises. Elves, dwarves, hobbits, humans, half... I'm not saying that. MUs? Clerics, nobility, thieves, fighters, etc. Anything unlike his own race and or sex or social status, verbally, and will discredit, antagonize, or attack his victims. When provoked, he will physically attack... Your physical attack will start short of fatally wounding his victim. Will defend only himself in melee, tends to divide group and spread mistrust. Usually has very few friends. Felix Unger was a character from The Odd Couple. Oh, okay. Thank you, Anachromech. Thank you. I'm sure it was a very timely thing. I find it interesting, like, because if I was going to roll for a character and have them be a bigot, I don't know. It feels like it is true there is no such thing as a single issue bigot. Where you find scratch a transphobe, you will usually find a racist. Scratch a racist, you'll usually find a homophobe. Scratch a homophobe, you will usually find a misogynist. You know. But yeah. So it's just, but it is weird that a bigot is really just an arsehole who hates everybody. They're just more of like an aggressive misanthrope. So let's see what else we've got. I don't really want to read those ones because I imagine they're just going to be offensive. Magiophobia, fear of magic users. Absent-minded, spends much time looking for personal belongings because he's constantly misplacing them, staring blankly at the walls. There's a +1 added to, because of this, he has a +1 added to his intelligence. Over 20% of things laid down or misplaced or hidden by him will be permanently lost. Okay. Phobias. What does actually phobias do? In any phobia related to animals or undead, the player will react by partially losing rationality and taking the nearest means of escape. When fleeing, it's impossible to return and fight, but his fear will affect his performance. Okay. Oh, good. You can encounter a spider and have an asthma attack. Cool, that's what I want to add to my D&D games. Okay. Okay. Sexual aberrations have not been overlooked. They have been purposely left out. Thank you. Showing more restraint than the inclusion in the first white dwarf of the player type of pervert, I believe it was. The booty bag. These are an aromatic spice leaf that will double the healing power of a paladin when used. This also includes rangers. Okay. From the Scrolls of the Moonstorm Mountains. Okay, so if I remember rightly, I think after this we get into a whole thing of like a kind of monster manual, Fiend Factory-esque thing, really, of just adding things. So let's have a look. So we've got the Watcher. The Watcher had been created during the Drace mishap of flame and smoke and magic. It stood a mere 4.5 feet tall. Flightless, leathery, textured wings lay folded in a haphazard confusion on its back. The cold skin of the creature reflected a nauseating and sickly pale plastic look, and covered the irregular swellings with thin body. Long, skinny fingers hung quietly and delicately boned hands at its sides. The bald head boasted no ears, and no sound issued from the expressionless, thin line of a mouth. I'm pretty sure I saw this guy in like the Tory leadership race. Okay, so just a weird little guy. We invented a weird little guy. Cool. The Monster Matrix. Okay. Gremlins. Gremlins. 5% of all gremlins will be magical in nature. This new monster is actually nothing more than a magical variety of the common kobold. Okay. It has the unique ability to flame on like the Human Torch of Marvel Comics. Okay. Alright. The Wax Golem. The Wax Golem was originally a blunder on the part of a wizard's ugly... What? Of a wizard's ugly by the name of Max Fritzen. Isn't ugly the name of a thing you can be? I'm learning. I'm learning so much. Is it a typo? Is it a thing that is just an archaic use of something? Who knows? Who can tell? I think there's straight up a word there. Yep. While his master was away, Max neglected the task of melting the wax out of the mold and pouring the iron into it. When the wizard returned and cast the proper spells on the mold, out stepped the first wax golem. At first, the wizard was very angry and transformed Max into an eraser. It wasn't very long before the wizard discovered several advantages of the new golem. This nude made Max very happy as he emerged from his eraser shape with only one slightly worn shoulder. See you, veteran. Oh, they called NPCs uglies earlier, I think. Possibly. We're taking in a lot here. The first thing you noticed was the golem was melted accidentally. It would simply reform back to its original shape. Oh, so you've made a T-1000, okay. The next thing he noticed that due to the nature of the construction itself, non-flaming materials would have a 10% chance of becoming temporarily stuck in the golem. Okay, so it's just squishy golem. Oh no, we made a golem, and it was hot. Unfortunately, it's kept at bay by the fact it has a giant bollock for a leg. Okay. Oh, here's uglies. These are what the uglies are. Okay, so they're Igor. They're the henchmen. Okay. Again, I'm just gonna put forth, Garrett, that is offensive. I resemble that remark. What was I gonna say? Like, I know I'm telling people from the 70s this, but when you mention something, put the thing first that requires reference later. Otherwise, you mean that people will read sentences, get really confused by them, and then go to the next page and then be unconfused. When if you just put them in the other order, then no confusion happens because you're not paying attention to what you're reading if you're slightly confused, because that is eating at the back of your brain going, what were they fucking talking about? Anyway, uglies are the chaotic assistants to of the evil alchemists. Of evil alchemists, 50%. Evil magic users, 30%. Or other evil characters dealing in the mystical, 20%. They may be hired for the mere pittance of a room and board and occasional small animal to torture. Oh, cool. As are all are highly predisposed to sadism. This is another one of those things where, you know, it's like a thing about the whole... about the whole thing of like nowadays we're a bit more careful not to attribute someone being ugly to them being evil, because it's kind of fucking weird when you start saying that, because it starts describing like physical characteristics. But when you see it in something like this, you do know no harm was meant by it, because this was just what the world is still like. But no one gave a shit except for those nerds who rolled for political activists. Uglies are extremely low in intelligence, hideously grotesque, and will be either 3'2", 7'9", or a 5'1" hunchback. Nothing else. They can only be those 3 hides. Okay, so cool, they're disfigured, and that's a bad thing. Down with incredibly high constitutions, enabling them to withstand severe physical hardship. Okay, Fuzzies and Steelies. Oh, fuck. Okay. Alright, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Yeah, with those hides, you can have an Igor, a Lurch, or a Renfeld, yes. Okay, I think I might have a thing. Okay. Sorry, this is incredibly relevant. We'll get to it in a second. Hey, Mutantic. So, Fuzzies and Steelies are less imposing members of the Beholder genus and look like a big fuzzy bollock. Or alternately, are just round. They have the same spherical body and central eye. The similarity ends at this point. Fuzzies and Steelies are fuzzy and armored respectively. Each creature has 3 prehensile tentacles that dangle beneath its body as it hovers in the air. The bodies are 1 to 2 foot in diameter. These tentacles are usually 3 or 4 foot. So, they're basically a little floaty thing. Now, that is fun. This one is wielding a sword. Very funny. Now, a long time ago, I found this and I posted it on Twitter. This is how I found out. Yeah, shit, this is how I found out about the Dungeoneer magazine, because this was in an issue of White Dwarf, I think like issue 80 something. And it was a guide as to how to make your own fuzzy. And shit, because that was where I found out about Janelle. Shit, yeah, yes. I fucking remember now, because I remember looking up and going, oh shit, they transitioned, okay. Shit, yeah. It was years ago that I read this. Seeing the fuzzies again reminded me. Do you have a Discord? Yes, it is linked underneath. It should be linked underneath the stream. It's a public one, so yeah. Main rules, just don't be a dick and everything's fine. But yeah, okay. So Fuzzies and Steelies can regenerate their tentacles. Cool. Okay. Okay. The Draconet. Oh, it's the Dragonet. Oh, no. Sometimes it's written Draconet, sometimes it's written Dragonet. Again, what is an editor? What is an editor? The first of these creatures created by magic users as pets. Oh, so it's just a tiny little homunculus dragon. Okay, cool. The loyalty to their creator is extremely high unless they are mistreated. The Draconet is extremely agile and quick. The way they vary between Dragonet and Draconet is like how I vary between using the word pronunciation lieutenant and lieutenant just to aggravate people. Okay, so you get a little dragon. That's cute. Oh yeah, you can get a talk. Chance of talking or sleeping. Oh. The tinfoil monster. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him and tell him that you love him. Seriously, seriously, type it in chat. Tell him you love him. We're not moving on till people tell him. This isn't a joke. He requires a sufficient amount of love. Good. Good. That is good. Good. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. You know what would make the tinfoil monster really happy? If you subscribe to our Patreon. I'm joking. I am fucking joking. This creature eats anything, and as a result, the various objects will be found in its gullet. Treat it similar to a gelatinous cube as far as treasure is concerned. So it eats shit. Okay, so it's just a gelatinous cube, but it's made of tinfoil. Cool. Darkness monster. A monster that absorbs all light within a radius of 15 foot. So it's just kind of an orb of darkness. Okay. Monster stands 9 feet tall with 6 large legs and 2 hairy armed paws. Its jaws will have 3 sets of fangs, but never use them in battle. Oh, cool. Cool. Right. Ray gun robot! Fucking ray gun robot! This machine was set loose to roam the battlefields of the far, far future, shooting down all living organisms. The violence and power of these future battles often cause dimensional rifts that make these and other futuristic battle machines appear in dungeons and areas where these rifts are created by wizards and gods. The device is programmed to stay 90 foot away from the given target, firing 3 shots at everyone and then leaving. It is 95% magic resistance with an atomic power cell that allows it and its gun to fire until it is destroyed. This is the cover creature to number 3. Okay, let me just remember, we're on page 32. I think it means this. This is the cover for 33. So this is the ray gun robot just fucking up this D&D party here. Okay. The ray gun robot is a creation of Jim Ward, author of Metamorphosis Alf. You know Alf, the alien like puppet thing. It's like him, but he like gets it, like makes it like a fucking chrysalis for himself and comes out as a weird Alf butterfly. The Anaswami? What? Creature is nearly invisible spirit for malevolent towards all life besides normal combat capabilities, has the power to animate any non-enchanted metal object to it. This includes all weapons and armor. For example, it can animate a sword in the hands of the player / character to make it attack him. Okay. Encouraged to look at Iron Gods, the word techno-barbarian is used unironically. I'm okay with the term techno-barbarian. Yes, there's a DNA monster. We'll get to that. Smoke creatures. Well, it's that. Okay, actually. Okay, let's you know, maybe zoom in a little on this. We need to truly appreciate the DNA monster, the smoke creature, and this fucking dude who's like, help, lads. I'm fighting fucking smoke, lads. Help. Legit, all-timer art. I don't know what the IBEM is. Yeah, don't fight the smoke creature, it's got anxiety! Smoke creatures are monsters made of pure living smoke. Oh shit. Only magic weapons will work on them, since the magic weapon is solid on the same plane as these creatures actually exist in. Okay, the DNA monster. What the fuck is a DNA monster? This creature is a huge enlarged DNA molecule. It is semi-intelligent but does not speak. This creature has no regular treasure, but instead, some atoms of its structure will be gems. The occurrence of gems in the DNA creature's body is 15%. I have so many questions. How can... How can a fantasy setting know what DNA is enough to know that that is DNA? And how can you have molecules enlarged so much that parts of the molecule are made of gems? Just a big squiggly snake thing that looks like that is made of gems will be fine. I know I am being very what's the deal with airline food right now, but like that conceptually that one does just kind of bother me. The Ibum. This monster of many arms and many eyes and of course many mouths. Ooh, what that mouth do? What them mouths do? It has 4 eyes, 8 tentacles, and 4... Okay, it just repeats that it has many mouths. It will attack a maximum of 3 times from any given side that is attacked from facing. It will not bite unless its prey is ensnared in its tentacles. Basically, it's what if an octopus was multi-directional. The snake turtle, which apparently is the same as a droll. We don't get to know anything about them. We just have stats for them. We know it's... I mean, I guess it's a turtle that is also a snake. I don't really need to know anything about that. But the droll, I do feel like I need to know more about. PJ Droll, you know? The Snurtle. Both faces in the snake turtle picture. Yeah. I do. I mean, I like how he's got a weird little, like, fucking... like mischievous face on him. And this guy is just fucking offended. Like, he is offended that his head has been ripped off. Like, he's man reading an article in the Daily Mail about a book that at some point uses a singular they pronoun. That's how pissed he is. Like, he's just offended. We've got mud creatures, which... I like how there is an explanation for what a mud creature is, but there's no explanation for this fucking thing. Mobile dis. Mobile dis. Mobile dis. Mobile dis. Mobile dis. Mobile dis. Imagine a 1/4 inch stomach with 8 tiny legs attached to it and 1/2 inch fangs in front. Multiply that by 1 billion and you have mobile dis. Mobile dis, mobile dat, you know. These creatures roam the dungeons and deserts of the world, eating everything in sight. They swarm... they swarm of their food sources and nothing gets off them but death. Gets them off but death, huh? Okay, 1 colony of dis take 10 accumulate dice to damage. These dis are only affected by cold, heat, or a special chemical called mobile dis salt. The discs do not spread out when they travel. Okay, fucking whatever. Wood golem. These creatures are created by animated by druids. Okay, it's just a golem made of wood. I can pretty much work that out. Imps. Mark Norton invented imps. Write that down. I feel these designers would have been designing Pokemon if they'd been born 30 years earlier. Oh, fuck. Rich, I hope you understand you've just given me a terrible idea to go through the Fiend Factory column and redesign a bunch of them as Pokemon. Oh, fuck. I want to do that now. Okay, we'll let that idea roam around in my head. Do it the other way round, mate. The thing is, I'm sure someone's like statted out like D&D creatures and like D&D like stats for Pokemon. I assume that's been done. I assume. Imps are best described as demons. Oh, cool. I don't need to read any more. More Monster Matrix. Okay, this is... Oh, Imp B. Imp A, Imp B, Imp C. Zappers! Look at this little idiot. Weird little worm. Living lightning bolts that are attracted to metal and will destroy magical items and destroy it. Magical items will get saving throw. Damage is proportional to the number of hit dice the individual creature has. Okay. Aurora energy monster. I thought Enter the World, a stream where people can hold you accountable. Hey, I never said when I'd do it. Like all the video ideas we have, they will happen at some point between the next week and the next 5 years. So the Aurora Energy Monster by Jim Ward is... The creature, in its normal shape, appears to be a 30 by 30 gold cloud of gas in constant motion. Okay. There's two special abilities: the power to reflect back to the sender any and all energies and damage sent to itself, and the power to assume the shape of the last creature that attacked it. Imagine the amazed fighter that tries to attack a puny orc only to receive his sword thrust damage on himself. The Aurora Energy Monster will immediately assume the shape of its new attacker, all the while sending spells, arrows, and sword thrusts back at its senders. It is a mindless creature, and there is a 25% chance that it will follow and walk amongst any given party for 1 to 100 melee turns, changing into different party members seemingly at random. A lot of made of like homebrew D&D monsters are basically made in order to murder player characters in weird backward ass ways, you know? I'd like it known that in Pathfinder there is an alchemist subclass called the Preservationist that keeps monsters in glass bottles that it can summon at will. Okay, that's pretty good. The Bomb Monster! It's a bomb. It's a bomb. Vorpal Bunnies. Okay, look, I appreciate that they just straight up come out and said it, that it's based on Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but you're playing D&D in the 70s. We know that everything you do will have a reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail in it. Don't worry, we know. Mirrormen. Is that referenced earlier as well? Jesus Christ. Okay, so more people. Odo Kool-Aid and... Okay, by Cecil Nurse as suggested by Karjnus. Okay. One monster can survive any attack. Once. This is another of those dreaded underground races which few people have seen. Oh, another one. They are somewhat like slim men, except they have toe-bald heads. I think you meant to say 2. 3 legs and 4 arms. Their limbs have a couple more joints than do men, which gives them more mobility. They are highly intelligent. They can bring 2 arms to bear against a single opponent, while also fire their bow in melee, which they are only half involved. About 1 in 20 are clerical types in casting. Okay. Swords are rare with them. They'll usually have axes or warhammers. Okay, very normal. Went and got myself a copy of Thirsty Sword Lesbians because goodness I love the same system. I have heard it is quite fun. 1 second, I am just going to go and get myself a quick drink. So, everyone behave. out of 10. Sorry. Oh no, Ubisoft cancelled their Ghost Recon Battle Royale and their Splinter Cell VR game. I'm sure tens of people across the world are devastated. Tens of them. So these are the dog-like creatures. Dust golems. Made by an accident when an ugly had forgotten to clean out a wax golem mold for 10 years. It was in storage. And then when the wizard found out he was already putting the necessary spells in it to make a living golem, he proceeded to turn the ugly into a wax candle and used him for illumination. Noticing a pattern here. Oh yeah, what's going on with the... Huh. Music went a bit weird there, yeah. Okay. Okay, so after careful study, he discovered the monster's powers. It can't be charmed, fireballed, lightninged, turned to stone, or polymorphed. Okay. Quick content warning. I don't know if anyone just saw that. The next page has a weird spidery thing on it, so if you are a little arachnophobic, look away now. I will put it on screen for an amount of seconds, and then we shall move on from it. And I'll move it off screen, and I won't go back to it, and I'll tell you when. Okay? The Harvest Man. Look at this fucking horror show. Jesus fucking Christ. It is now moved off screen. It's a really cool design, but that was one thing where I was looking at it like going, yeah, I think that might actually be a bit much for some people, so that's why I thought I'd give a warning and move it off. In ages past, an unholy union between a spider demon and his high priestess produced an evil race of creatures that were neither arachnid nor human in form. Malproportioned and malformed, these creatures were despisers of all life that walked the world. They held no allegiance to their spider father. I too hold no allegiance to my spider father, nor my human mother. One they later I think that was supposed to be whom they later devoured. The creatures were unfortunately not mules, and so they began to reproduce, with rumours of an evil harvest mother spreading the ravished countryside. They reproduced in such great numbers that nothing could stop them. It was until the old patriarch named Caleb appeared in the waste and led them away, piping an eerie tune. Oh good, so someone had a bunch of those, led it away like a fucked up Pied Piper. Maybe an agile and fluid killing machine. Okay, so they're bad. Montana. There is a creature called Montana. I assume it's not the entire state. The creature known as Montana is one of 5 gargantua. These neutral guardian beasts inhabit extremely remote sections of the mortal world. The chronicles of the Moonstorm Mountains speak thusly. Montana! A gargantuan who lives within the murky... Okay, you don't need to repeat yourself. A man-eater, a retainer of the witch man Tanarak, a cable scene. Okay, just tell me what fucking... It's a big thing that you call Montana for some reason. In combat, the creature will seek to devour its victims. It can't be killed by normal means. Okay. Do we get to see? I was wondering if we'd see on the next page. No, we just see spectral soldiers and the slime beast. Spectral soldiers are soldiers that are spectral. Cool. Slime beast. Sorry. This little weird little unicorn cat face. Okay, we'll find out what he is in a second. Slime beast is typically a takeoff on Bigfoot. Stands 8 to 10 feet tall and walks with a shambling gait. Has the odor of all the world's garbage. Then that's not really a takeoff of Bigfoot. That is a takeoff of the skunk ape. Sorry, which is a regional variant of the Sasquatch that smells bad. There's 20% chance of hearing or smelling it approaching. It is nothing more than slime in semi-solid form. It attacks by absorbing people into his body. Okay, cool. Killer bushes! I mean, it looks alright. Killer might be a bit extreme. This extraordinary chaotic offshoot of the Ent family should be treated as a gremlin more than anything else. Alright, gremlin Ent. That's all I need to know, it's a gremlin Ent. Okay. This is the Agaret. Yeah, I guess Agaret. This 10 to 12 foot tall winged mutant is a far distant relative of the goblin species. Really? What about this, says Goblin? It's a bonsai Ent. Yes, Lynn. Its home's anywhere secluded, semi-dark and quiet. The nest is made of clothing from former meals and soft materials, standing on 2 legs with eagle-type feet. It's 4 arms. The top 2 having 6 clawed fingers. Okay, normally we'd go up here. Okay, we're just going to change the formatting. Just quickly check what a warp is. It's created by it was created as a guardian beast by an alchemist who wanted a deadly creature that would fight to the death and never run away. Even when it was outnumbered, the warp has a suction cup base, making it incapable of motion. A flexible stalk, a single eye. Okay, before we got to bony shurikens, I'm not 100% sure they're not just describing a very elaborate and niche sex toy right now. They may only, I mean, especially with the suction cup base, you know. The shurikens will regenerate in 1 to 3 months. If charmed, they will stay charmed permanently. Okay, is there a fucking picture of this? No. You can't just include this and not tell me. Not show me a picture of it. Was there one? Is this it? Is this? Oh, this is the warp up here. So potentially not a sex toy. Unless each of these is a tiny cock ring. I'm really thinking about this too much. Okay, so this thing, we're looking at the Agaret. 6 clawed fingers, top having 5. The head is cat-like features, large sad eyes and a horn in the center of its forehead. Its forked tongue, lizard-like, has a special purpose of reproduction. The saliva in the creature's mouth is its means of reproducing itself. If a saving throw versus magic is not mainly struck by its fearsome tongue, the inflicted will become a zombie-ish incubator for the creature. After 3.5 months, the victim must make a save throw against being charmed and subsequently eaten by the now hatching. Okay. The description of this feels like it's just in there to make the DM be forced to describe this. Aqua zombies, all the walking wet. I actually kind of like that. That's kind of fun. And I quite like the terrorhook bat as well. Kind of a vicious creature. It's a terrorhook bat. Attacks people. Okay, everyone, shut the fuck up. Aqua zombies are not true undead. They are the victims of contact by the slime god. Didn't fucking think so, did you? Fucking slime god. I don't even need to know anymore. Yeah. Carnivorous slither? Is that just a snake? This slithery creature is guard to a mystical orb. Upon its tentacles are suctions that grasp hold tightly on to the victim, slowly using its own weight to apply pressure and crush it lifeless. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Cool. So, here we have... so we've finished with that little section now, and we go on to a bigger booty bag. Where... so these are like fun items, and here we have variants on the deck of many things. If you don't know, there's an old D&D item, which is a deck of many things, and some of the things in it are good, some of the things in it are bad, and it's basically you pull something out and you can get wondrous treasures, or you can just get fucking killed. I have heard it said that it is something you should not put in your campaign because it will derail it. The referee can satisfy... Okay. Many players are fascinated with the Greyhawk deck of many things. The referee can satisfy this fascination in two things: by creating minor decks so that decks are not so rare, or by setting things up so that regular decks are often found. The second method is a mistake, because no matter how many characters are fouled up by bad draws, there will always be some who gain significantly by good draws, wrecking the balance of the game when regular decks are plentiful. That 500,000 plus experience card will come up sooner or later. I've seen it happen twice, and in a balanced game, 500,000 experience points is more than half a year's work. Some referees go beyond this error and permit more than 4 draws from a deck, or make the decks even more powerful than the Greyhawk offering. I was once in a game in which 4 different players each drew 4 times from one deck, and will over 100,000 experience points, and again, 70s creators of Dungeoneer, hire an editor. So, oh fucking hell, oh god, okay. Let me read it. Okay. And well over 100,000 experience points were gained at the cost of 3 stoned characters. In another game, 12 picks from a double strength deck resulted in 6 wishes and 3 former first levels with 100,000 experience each. This kind of ridiculous mess. Is that ridiculousness, or was it supposed to be ridiculous mess? Must be avoided. Or your game will turn into a boring monster shoot. But decks are useful, both the fascination of the gamble and games with many players. Let 4 different players pick each one of the deck. Okay, so the following decks look exactly like the Greyhawk item, though the players count the cards. If the players count the cards of the few deck, they'll know something is fishy. I'll use numbers rather than cards since it's easy to roll a 20-sided die, and there is always one of those available, while cards are not. Okay, so the deck of several things. So Joker, bunch of experience, or draw 2 cards. So Joker, help a hero with +1 armor. Okay, so just gain a potion spell, yours gain scroll of 5 spells. Okay, so this is just... Yeah, there you go. Death Throat. Goodbye, bot. Oh, Rustbot, I'm sorry to hear you experience being nerd or knerd. I suppose I never heard it said out loud. I suppose it's probably just nerd, but I always want to say knerd because that just amuses me. So let's see, get a third level monster attack. Okay, I was hoping these would be a bit more chaotic. I mean, it's a mirror word, has a hard K. Okay, I'm glad other people think the same way as me that it should have a hard K. Okay, so yeah, basically just, yeah. Decks are many things, but just smaller. So elven blades, so just blades that are better. Okay, we'll try and get through this a little bit. Although I cannot not move forward when we have the Ring of Slime control. The Ring of Slime control gives the wearer complete control over creatures along with summoning ability of monsters that are slime related. This includes all oozers, puddings, green and other slimes, shriekers, giant slugs, gelatinous cubes, ochre jellies, yellow molds, giant worms, aqua zombies, funguses, molds, amoebas, shambling mounds, giant snails, etc. The summoning will bring 10 to 40 hit dice worth of slime monsters. The ring is not as powerful as it seems. It is merely an extension of the slime god's power. Once it dies, the ring is worthless. The ring will only summon once every 30 turns. The creatures that are under the power and influence of the ring's bearer, whereas the ring also plays the around the influence of the slime god once he uses it for the first time. Aqua Zombie would be a good name for a band. You're right. Killer Kitchen. Alright, Merle. When is a kitchen not a kitchen? When it's a killer kitchen. Players enter this room via a 5-foot wide door in what appears to be a 15 by 15 short corridor and into a room that appears to be 50 foot across and 90 foot long. Written on the floor in chaotic is the following phrase: "He who dares enter here, a woman." Hello, 1970s. When a player comes near one of the appliances that is within 10 foot of its front, the machine will attack. The machines will continue to attack until destroyed. The illusionary walls will remain as long as it... You didn't say anything about an illusion wall until... Okay. Illusionary walls will remain as long as cameras projecting them are still functioning. Cameras don't really project? Projectors project. Cameras can... Okay. The counters will also function as long as the animation rays on them. Cameras 2 and 4 cast illusionary walls. Cameras 1 and 3 animate the objects on the counter. Most fiendish of the monster, the gas stove, breathes fire and poisonous gas. The sink will attack by either squirting soapy water. They have statted a sink. They have statted a coffee grinder. Good. The fridge will attack by either letting loose with a cold spell, attempting to lure a person inside, and then suffocating for 1 to 6 turns. Alright, cool. Okay, fucking, well. Sweat, nose wet, or no nose wet, or nose wet, or no sweat. What? 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 Context, please. What is this? What is this? Is it just things you roll on to just... You can, like, pick random things to happen? Okay. Phantasmal stairway occupying an initial stairwell. You step on it and it's not there. Even nastier, have a switchback on the spring-led trap. Okay, so these are just... I think these are just, like, hooks, like, for a room? Libraries which contain only fictional material. Okay. At the beginning of adventure, an evil MU... I still don't know what MU means. Makes clones of the party and seeks out the originals. Okay, so these are hooks. Okay, right, okay. A ring that randomly polymorphs a user. When I say randomly, I mean randomly. Have characters enter the storyline of a fantasy novel and see how they affect the outcome of the story. What do you mean Gandalf was killed? Harmless animals that follow a party and make a loud racket, attracting monsters, and if physically attacked, they become huge, vicious creatures. Problem, how does one ditch them without resorting to combat? Okay. How about an artifact that randomly polymorphs a part of the body into that of a monster? Okay. Is Emu just magic user? That would make sense. That would make sense. Yeah, no, that'll be what it is. Yeah, no, I think you're right there. An area in the dungeon that causes mutations per Okay. I have several motley crews of various monsters roaming upper levels. A mirror maze. Exit signs pointing in random directions. Signs with various inscriptions on. Piles of corpses and puddles of dried blood, i.e. the remains of the last group of adventurous fools who enter the dungeon. Have a receptionist desk at the entrance to your dungeon. Whom do you wish to see? We come to loot and pillage the dungeon. Take a seat over there, fill out these forms in triplicate, please. But keep her safe by making her a high-level magic user. Okay, definitely, yeah, it must be magic user, yeah. How about a library of magical books that you can't take out unless you have a library card, and you have to find out, and then come to find out it's only the juvenile section. Have C-3PO and R2-D2 of Star Wars come and join the group. However, have a group of Imperial stormtroopers hot on their tails. Cool. Gems that shoot rays that disintegrate certain subjects like wood, steel, leather. Okay. Animation cameras that shoot off spells that animate. I do not think these people understand what a camera is. I don't think they understand. I think they think a camera is a projector, which is literally the opposite thing. Bottle of endless water. You've already mentioned a fucking flask of endless water earlier. So that it starts releasing its contents when the door of the room closes and locks. Yeah, well, you can do that with a flask of endless water. A wand of polymorph user. A wand of polymorph user to a frog. A wand of polymorph user to a frog. A wand of polymorph user to a frog. Please tell me that sentence doesn't make sense, because I cannot parse that at all. Like, yeah, I get that it's what the one polymorphs the user. A wand of polymorph user to a frog. A wand of... Oh, so you separate wand of polymorph user to a frog. So that should have been... Okay. That is the weirdest way they could have possibly written that. Wand of a monster, doubling blow on it and your opponent's doubling number. Magic sword that is randomly... changes. I actually kind of like the idea of like a random magic sword. How about living elephant's head on the wall that shoots peanuts as missile? You're just fucking about now. You just needed a word count, didn't you? Have a Dungeoneer Ugly walking. Also, uglies are they're like, obviously we've had stats for them, but that's their thing. Okay. Random teleporting phase doors. Yeah, that seems pretty sensible. Room that destroys the intelligence of magic swords and leaves the basic power intact but removes the intellect and ego. Oof. Room with a magnetic ceiling. A room that when entered turns everyone and everything invisible, but only as long as they are in the room. A room that is spherical in nature and has gravity on all surfaces. One can hold some very interesting battles in such a room. Yeah, you could. Who wants to try and, like, manage that battle where you have to you have to work out how to do a fight on a 3-dimensional sphere. Like, if you had your models with magnets on it and you just had a sphere, you could do them on the outside of the sphere, no worries. Or, yeah, you can blue tack minis to the inside of the sphere, but then you've got to draw the grid on the inside of the sphere and get inside the sphere, and there's going to be bits of the sphere that can't be there, because I guess if you have half a sphere and you separate it... Okay, if you get a hollow sphere, you cut it in half, and you can hinge it open, and put a hinge on it so you can hinge it open, and then you draw the grid on the inside, and then you blue tack the things inside. This seems like a lot more work. Like, this seems like a lot more work than it's worth. Large underground caverns with forests in them. I mean, yeah, I've been in many D&D campaigns where that's happened.
Cleanse this area.
AC-34 extra attack is a tip on dot. Thank you, mysterious person. I have no idea who did that. Thank you. Tunnels are that lead to areas operating under the Metamorphosis Alpha rule system. Oh my god. Yeah, that'd be fucking horrible. Like, translate someone into a different game system. Like, okay, everyone give me your rule sheets, and then you hand them out a very similar one, but for a different game system, and you're like, alright, fuckers, we're playing Soulbound now. You thought you were a dwarf, you're a Caradon now. Fuck you. Occasionally, especially during slow moments in the game, have a dank wind extinguish all the torches that are lit. This scares the crap out of the unwary player. Bridge across a pit of molten something or other that has phantasmal walls and doors along the course. And its course push along the walls. Oops, okay. Elevator rooms, whole rooms that can descend or ascend rooms. That's just kind of like changeable geometry. Rooms with giant statues in them. One of mine did weird things to people. Another swung a huge club every few melee rounds with incredibly poor chance of hitting. It would crush people as they tried to run across it. Another would ask questions and riddles of people. Then they began to wail on them if they didn't answer. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is just a list. That's just a list of models available from something there. Old-timey gamers love crossovers, it seems. Oh, like crazy, yes. Okay. Fetchelrack's Tomb? The players see a large black iron door engraved in gold and archaic lawful script. Oh, because it's lawful, so lawful characters. The script is the following. Know ye that this is the tomb of Fetchelrack. Enter with fear and trembling, but where ye, as Fetchelrack would leave again, only a person with a red language spell or helm will be able to read more than a few words. Okay. So this is a dungeon. Okay. Sculpture of a Medusa in there. A statue of a gorgeous woman. I like that the statue has 18 charisma. An orc. Okay. Okay, there's a lot of weird shit in this thing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this font is very aggravating. There's like 2 fonts you'll see a lot of stuff written in from like the early like wargamey / RPG days. Just kind of basic typewriter font like this. Or there is actually you do see this font quite a bit as well. But the other one is the sci-fi font. Which I don't know what it's actually called. I should really look it up. But just to give an example, this font. the laser blend. This font, it is all over stuff, sci-fi games of this era. All of them use some variation of it at some point. They fucking loved it. They were well into it. That's one of the other ones I was going to look at, but we are totally not now because I've already been doing this for 2.5 hours. The Fabled Garden of Merlin. Okay. So you can go to the Fabled Garden of Merlin. Which seems to have a lot of bullshit underneath it, which makes sense. It's basically those fonts transfer sets. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, there's so many things that are repeated because it wasn't as easy as it is now. Now you can just go, I want to use a different font. Let me go on one of the 40 websites where I can download functionally infinite royalty-free fonts and pick whatever I want. There were heavy restrictions on what you could do. Okay. Likewise, while reading this, my eyes do kind of just slide off this, so we'll assume that these are fine. Although I do kind of like the homemade nature of these, like, very obviously, like, drawn in pen elements. It's quite cool. Not quite cute. Desktop publishing was literally done on a physical desk by hand. Yes, exactly. It drives me slightly nuts when cutting out text for videos, because once you reach this sort of era of stuff, or at least stuff that was made in this style, like the not quite as high-end stuff, you will notice that because of the nature of the publishing, because everything's kind of chopped together and, you know, like photocopied to have, like, you know how it's going to look, not everything's perfectly lined up, so you'll, like, line it up to make sure that the text is straight, but then some parts on the page will not be one way and some parts will. It's just very it's very aggravating when you're trying to arrange. Like, you can see how fucking wonky this bit is, like, more so than down here. Hollow crystal cube. Okay. This is like just a wall of text. I'm sorry, I cannot deal with that. Although I like this mummy. He's quite cool. Reminds me, Disco Elysium has an alternate dyslexia-friendly font. Oh, cool! I really need to play through Disco Elysium again. Because I've played through it once, sort of. Because I'm English, I got Sorry Cop. Apparently every English person gets Sorry Cop the first time they play through. But yeah, Disco Elysium's great. Fucking good game. This room is filled with sulfuric acid that will pour out and fill the next room. Cool. Okay, we're just making smaller and smaller text now. The Gardens of Greg. A small island inhabited by an odd adult green dragon named Hormath Fangtooth. Would rather talk than fight. He has no treasure, but loves poetry. Oh. I love Hormath. Okay, so yeah, we've got a bit of a wider area. Location of the skeletal boat. Okay, cool. We have a skeletal boat. Okay, I think this might be nice. Oh, we've got a bit of lore to this world they created. Okay, cool. You see it talk about, like, I'm thinking about a lot of the adventures I've done in D&D and how sometimes they are just hastily drawn rooms in, like, Roll20. Which is like where something like this is so much more effort. Just kind of fun how, like, yeah, you what you can make do with and let your imagination fill in. Okay, okie dokie dokie. Just walls and walls and walls of text. One of my 5e, our party ran into a dragon that just happened to have the same name as my character. Please tell me your character's name was like Jim. Sorry. Is this like a fucking editing note they accidentally left in? The above text on this page should be inserted before the state history. Page 69. Oh, fucking red. Okay, text just getting smaller and smaller. I think this is just what we're gonna get. Yeah, okay, that was the end of that. Okay, a weird little hobbit dude. Okay. I've always actually played tabletop RPG with a map. I've never actually played a tabletop RPG with a map before. I've always just been visual, descriptive combat with no aids. I think that there are some games that sort of are like allow for that. Whereas some, like, because there's like some, like in D&D, there's a lot of very specific distancing. You can do it without it because I've seen it done. But positioning is very specific in that. I suppose with something like Soulbound, you could probably like avoid having maps because like you're really just in zones, and as long as you keep track of what zone you're in, like your relative position to things doesn't really matter. So you could probably play Soulbound without a map. Yeah, I get that, Rustbell. I get that. Okay, so, what did we think of the compendium of issues 1 to 6 of the Dungeoneer? Because I think there was some fun stuff in there. There was some fun ideas. There was a lot of ideas that, you know, in a perfect world would stay in the 70s. But I'm not going to judge them too harshly for because they were writing in the 70s. And yeah, a lot of the stuff was overcomplicated, but D&D was a bit overcomplicated at the time. I snarked Club, but I had a lot of fun. I'm glad. Did everyone enjoy this stream? Like, this way of doing things? Like, is this entertaining? Because I did a stream like this a while ago that was, like, intentionally a research stream, but I ended up just talking about it and not actually doing research well. But yeah, if people like this, then so I've been meaning to try and do this more, because like there's a lot of this stuff that is never going to come up in like a codex compliant. I'm genuinely glad. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Because yeah, there's a lot of stuff that it's never going to come up in a codex compliant. Like when am I ever going to have a space on the agenda where I'm like, yeah, let's talk about the Dungeoneer, a magazine you haven't heard of. Statistically, you haven't heard of. So yeah, it's kind of fun to go through these things because I don't tend to, because like I say, I kind of just like skim these things. I mean, I did kind of skim it here as well. But you know, going through it in a little bit more detail, you find out, you know, a bit more interesting things. You get a bit more of the texture of the time and like what was like considered normal in like RPGs. Like for one, you saw like, to my understanding, and everyone and anyone who is more aware of the time, or if any of you happened to be, you know, real old school like RPG players, tell me if I'm off base here, but my impression is that in old RPGs, breaking the fourth wall and going into other universes, having like Star Wars characters or having fucking the crew of the Enterprise show up. Those kind of things were much more accepted than they are now. Where now it's more about trying to make a cohesive world and pulling people in, whereas there was a bit more, I'm just going to fucking do the thing for shits and giggles. That's the impression that I get from everything I've read. Obviously not just this. I'm assuming you've done codex compliance or similar on things I've never heard of before. This is true, but we always try and have some connection to the basic premise, whereas these are a bit off the beaten track. Kind of like Ultima 1 versus Ultima 6. That is a very good comparison, yes. Ultima, the old Ultimas are fucking buck wild. They do whatever the fuck they want. Reference weird shit. You like, oh, I'm just gonna get a fucking like magic carpet and have phasers and fire my phasers from my magic carpet and fight the floor. Shit like that was all over the early Ultimas, and then gradually it became a more cohesive world, or at least attempted to. Although somehow still managed to have like the king be Lord British, which is just weird. There's TIE fighters in Ultima. Yes, there are, aren't they? It's like how 40k was more fun and less serious in the past. Yeah, to a degree. Like, I think 40k came out a lot more fully formed because they'd sort of... Lord British is a self-insert of Richard Garriott, I believe his name is, the creator of Ultima. Yes, it is. But yeah, like, I think because Warhammer, like Warhammer Fantasy, started off as a fairly generic fantasy game and then had a few additions to become Warhammer, they sort of learned their lesson a bit, and so 40k, though started off more silly, started as a much more complete world and a much more complete product than earlier sort of things. In my observation of it, anyway. That's what it seems to me. And obviously, it would take a full edition until we got second before it became. I would say it took them before it became really 40k. Like it did. I guess it kind of became it like midway through Rogue Trader, but it definitely didn't start off that way. Down with Lord British, up with Count Welsh and Baron Scottish. And yes, Duke Irish. But yeah, I guess while I'm here, I've got a little bit more time that I was planning to spend, so if anyone's got any topics they'd like to discuss, I am all ears if anyone has any questions. I might as well do the... let me turn that off. Why do hot dogs come in brine? That is an excellent question, and one that I could not answer you. I do not know the reason, and I mean it's so that they don't go weird, because it's just a thing to preserve them in. What's your favorite dinosaur? Favorite dinosaur? That is a genuinely good question. Parasaurolophus has got to be up there. Maybe just... I know it's pretty basic, but a Triceratops is real solid, you know? Is there anything in the pipeline for a Fighting Evil is Cool gig? Currently, no. But that's because multiple members of the band, basically everyone but Snipe and myself, are busy having children. And so we were originally going to be doing some more stuff this year, but babies got in the way, which is perfectly fine. But you know, they do take up a lot of time, and we're not going to, yeah. Found a collection of old Nintendo Power magazines on archive.org. Oh, nice. Yeah, no. Maybe I could go through like an old issue of Starlog or something. Yeah, that'd be fun. Thoughts on the World Eaters getting a codex? I am okay with it. I like the World Eaters, and if that means they actually get some new fucking models, then perfect. And also, it's kind of weird that they have it. They don't have one when Thousand Sons have one and Death Guard have one. You know. I suppose Emperor's Children should probably get one as well. Out of the two video game shotgun archetypes, do you prefer DPS or crowd control? DPS, I think. Like close range heavy damage is the ones that I tend to prefer over like more widespread crowd control kind of stuff. Sorry, I'm already missing some questions because they've gone off the top of the thing. If a cake could run a video game, what cake would run it? Would run Skyrim most smoothly? Black Forest Gatto. No, I will not be explaining myself. Have you seen New Age's new Grimlock figure? That's a nice dinosaur. I haven't. New Age's stuff does look pretty good. I actually do not have any third-party Transformers. Currently, at least. But the New Age stuff does look pretty good. What factions do you think deserve an update? 40k factions, both codex and model-wise. I mean, the obvious answer is I want a Rebel Grots codex. Legitimately, actually, I think you could make a really, really fun faction using them. And I don't just say that because I'm, you know, collecting an army of them. But I do actually think you could have some fun with them. Golf course near me caught fire on Thursday. Oh. Well, at least it was just a golf course. I thought you bought some knockoffs. I do not. I do not have any knockoff Transformers, no. Xenomonsters as a new 40k faction. I mean, you could definitely do, like, expand... Like, I would like to see more Xeno races. I definitely think that would be cool to see, because the last proper new race we got was the Tau, and everything since then has been a rehash of something previous. I say as if the next thing I need to do, like basically my job tomorrow, is to record the voiceover for a video on the first Tau Codex. There's a live-action Dungeons & Dragons movie coming out, and the trailer just dropped. Okay. Like, they've had a few attempts at doing Dungeons & Dragons movies, and the results are... mixed. Like, what if a bunch of varied races allied to stand up to a bigger faction? Yeah, no, I actually think that would be a really cool thing. I think one thing that the Tau really do suffer from is that I think leaning into them having allied races could be really, really cool. So to have to throw in all this, because obviously you've got the Vespid and you've got the crew, but apart from that, we don't really see them on the tabletop. which I think would be, I think that would be really cool to see personally. And I think you could fill in you could do some interesting things with them, because it basically allows you to go, I want to make up some weird little guys, and they can just be a Tau unit, you know? When you've collected 2,000 points of both Autobots and Decepticons, can we see a battle report? Well, I mean, since it would just be me smashing models together, or figures together, I don't know how entertaining that would be. Although saying that, we do actually have a completely playable Transformers pseudo war game that is a video for that is partially written. So, oh, of course you can post the link, Lynn, don't worry. If you could remove 3 things from 40k, what would they be? The current cover rules, or more accurately, how terrain is managed and cover, because I hate it. I would remove the entire idea that the Fenrisian wolves are mutated Space Wolf aspirants, because I hate it. I don't know. Probably like half the Space Marine units, so their codex is remotely usable. More second battle reports when? Oh yeah. They will happen, but it got put really on hold due to a variety of reasons. Not least, it's just they're really awkward to do battle reports, like with the space and material and equipment that we've got. It's a fucking nightmare, to tell you the absolute truth. And so it's yeah, I've now, I don't know. I want to do more, but it is so much. It is so much work and so hard to do. That it's going to happen, but we just need to have a clear schedule for a while, and we haven't for a while, unfortunately. Listen to this. Make a Transformers army. Use the vehicle creator rules for them. Walkers only. An option. Worst Space Marine model. Ooh. Does the Khorne Lord of Skulls count? Because I really do not like it. What's the opinion is the biggest dick move that is tabletop legal in 40k? Well, literally earlier today, I played a game against someone, and it was a 1,000-point game. And I showed up with a heavily Dreadnought-based force, and apparently that was the hardest hard counter to their Eldar force I could have possibly brought. And in totality, they killed 2 of my scouts. And if we'd have played for one more turn, I would have tabled them. So whatever I did there was a pretty big dick move. Accidentally. What's your favourite series and or movie of Star Trek? My favourite series is Deep Space Nine. My favourite movie, if I wanted to be basic, I would say Wrath of Khan, which is probably my actual favourite, which is why you will see below the donate button, nudge nudge, wink wink, is Ricardo Montalban's chest from Wrath of Khan. I do also really like, of course, First Contact. I'm weirdly fond of Generations, despite it not being very good. And I do think Star Trek Beyond is absolutely phenomenal. What does table mean? Yes, it means a total army wipe. You completely wipe them off the table. Yeah. Oh, didn't say. Yeah. That it is still the plan. The next one, whenever we do the bat rep, will be a terrain one. Which, yeah, we'll do. We have been sent a lot of 2nd edition stuff, so chances are that will be a little bit simpler because we'll have the stuff. Considering how many we've been sent, expect dreadnoughts. I got 50 power of Space Wolves and a Knight killed in first turn before I had my turn against Iron Warriors. Oof, rough. But yeah, I'm trying to think of like dick moves like on the tabletop that I've either had done to me or I have done. I've not really had the biggest dick move I've ever had done to me on the table. Was, and I've told this story many times, so forgive me for repeating it. But I have only 8 stories to tell, so you're going to hear it. Which is where one of the 2 tournaments I've ever played in was a friendly one at Warhammer World, where they just kind of went around and said, "Hey, does anyone want to enter a tournament?" And it's like a 500-point tournament, and I was like, "Well, I've got my orcs with me, so yeah, fuck, sure, yeah, let's enter that." And I entered it, and the first game I played, I won against this kid who had a wonderful army where one of his squads was Squad Pikachu. God bless him. God bless him. And then the second fight I had was against the Warhammer World employee who arranged the tournament, who, in this friendly tournament, basically ran 3 Lehman Russ tanks with a bare bones infantry just so that it was a legal army, and then squatted the Lehman Russ tanks right at the edge of the board, and then just fired battle cannons all the way across the board and just annihilated anything that came near him. It's like, that was the most Thank you very, very much, Russbot. It is true. Do not ever become Knerd, kids. Do not ever be called Knerds. Do not ever become Knerds. Do not ever get Knerd. Thank you very, very much, Russbot. Very much appreciate it.
Let the purifying flame cleanse.
God, a Mantelman's chest. Thank you. So I've wanted to attract their attention for so long. Thank you very much. But yeah, no. That's the most dickish move I've ever had done against me, because it was just someone who, like, because like everyone else was just running whatever they could cobble together in like 15 minutes from what they had with them. So mine was like a mechanized orc army, which was like mostly running in trucks, so like that could not survive getting twatted with a battle cannon, so they all got knocked out of their trucks nice, like turn 1, and then turn 2 they all just got wiped off the face of the thing, because in 5th ed, orcs were fucking terrible at taking down heavy armor, bearing in mind at the time Lehman Russ tanks were 14 armor on the front, which is the heaviest armor possible. And because they were lined up in a row, it meant, and they were right at the corner of the table, it was next to impossible to hit their side armor. 14 armor was basically impossible for orcs to deal with, like, unless you had a battle wagon with a death roller and got them up close, or you were attacking them with a power claw. That was the only way to deal with it. Yeah, no, it was the hugest dick move I have ever come up against in what was supposed to be a friendly tournament by the organizer. It was one of those like, fuck you, man. Fuck you. I've done a lot of inadvertent dick moves where I've just, like, one of them was against Snipe, actually, where myself and our friend Fen, we both brought 1,000 points against Snipe playing with 2,000 points. And so Snipe had her Dreadnought army with a Knight in it, so it was a pretty hard to crack army. And because I, like, I'm used to fighting Snipe's armies, and Fen wasn't, I was like, you know what? I'll basically make my side of the army be tailored towards dealing with anti-armor stuff, so I can deal with that. So when Fen inevitably brings an army that is not designed to deal with dreadnoughts, because if you haven't got an army designed to deal with a wall of dreadnoughts, they're fucking difficult to deal with. Then we'll be fine. It'll be a fair fight. Turns out Fen also brought an entire list designed to take down armor, so we just had the hardest hard counter to a dreadnought army, which is a ridiculous amount of las cannons, and nothing ever got close. Just one-shotting dreadnoughts all over the shop. This was back when you could do shenanigans like put a lieutenant and a captain next to a land raider, so it's 4 las cannon shots. Got to reroll hits and reroll wounds. Yeah, that was pretty good at taking down knights. They quite rightly made that not be a thing you can do as the game has has progressed. I do not blame them. Did Lancers work? Against monoliths, I don't think so, because... Well, actually, maybe they did, because monoliths stopped melter, the advantage, like the double roll from melters from working, but I don't know if it stopped everything. I could literally go across the room and check, but it's warm and I'm tired. You understand, right? Not a gameplay thing, but I've had someone coach me when I didn't ask for it, which I found rude. Yeah, I understand that. Zap guns was a decent counter, but they were so random in their strength that against something like 14 armor, you really needed something a bit more consistent. Why do chickens not respect personal property laws? Because they inherently believe in... they don't believe in property. They just don't believe in it. Everything is everyone's and nothing is anyone's. They take kind of anarchistic principles to an extreme. Lancers work by learning the target's armor, not by having super high power, if I recall correctly. You know what? Fuck it. It's just across the room. I'm going to check. I think I only ever fought Necron. No, I never fought Necrons. I fought alongside Necrons once in they're all with this codex. So I never experienced the old monolith. And I don't think the person was running the monolith anyway. Here we go. Attacks which count the attack's armor value as being less than it really is, such as bright lancers and blasters, do not work against monoliths. There we go. So yeah, no, that didn't work. And they were 14 armor all round. They were a land raider, but even harder to crack, because the things that could crack them easily didn't work. Was 5th Ed around the time they released Dawn of War Dark Crusade? No. Dark Crusade was released before that. I think that was released during 4th, I believe. That's my favourite Goblin concept, by the way. They don't have a concept of ownership, so when they steal things, they're actually just using them because the person who it belongs to wasn't, so that makes it okay. They'll give things back if asked when they aren't using them, but I guess misunderstood as rampant theory. Yeah, it's a fun way of looking at it. It's a fun way of looking at it. I mentioned I was talking about this earlier today. I have talking of dick moves. I have inadvertently done a pretty big dick move to someone in a game where it was an accident, but it still gave me a quite big advantage. This is again in 5th edition, where I was playing against. I was using my orcs and I was playing against someone with Black Templars. And they had a big squad that had various different types of units. It was like their command squad, and they had their HQ choice in there, which was a Terminator chaplain. And I fired a Orc missile into it. I think it was just off a Death Copter, so it was Strength 8 AP3. And the way the old AP system worked was that AP3 would negate 3+ armor saves, but did nothing to a 2+ armor save. It didn't reduce 2+ armor saves, it just negated anything that was its number and above. That's just how the old AP system used to work if you started playing an 8th, just hypothetically. And so I fired it into it, it hit, and it wounded. And then it came to allocate it, and the guy was like, oh, where shall I allocate this? And I was like, well, the attack is AP3, so if you allocate it to any of the normal Marines, it will kill them outright. They won't get an armor save, they'll just be dead. I was saying, however, if you put it on your chaplain, he's got a 2+ armor save, so you just get a 2+ armor save on it. And then he went, yeah, I'll do that. And then he rolled the dice, rolled a 1, and then I was like, it's Strength 8, so it instigates instant death, so your chaplain's dead. I felt quite bad about that. By Sam Random. I'm good night, veteran. Yeah, I had a few times where because I basically built an Orc army that was heavily mobile and had a real heavy backline with shitloads of stuff that was Strength 8 AP3. My army was quick, but was really good at taking out like Marine level threats quite quickly if I needed to. So it led to quite a few occasions with the same person actually who would like go like, oh, I've got like my tactical squad there, and like I'd just then drop a pie plate on top of the tactical squad from a looted wagon that was again Strength 8 AP3, so it was an instant death. If I got it to land on them, it wounded on 2s, hit most of them, instantly killed them. And even if it was, say, a Death Company squad, because I remember like firing a big Death Company squad, and like if you hit it with a big pie plate from a looted wagon, it had obviously hit them. It would negate their armor save. And it would, because it was causing instant death, it would negate Feel No Pain. So this Death Star of a big Death Company squad just got wiped out by like single shots from fucking boom cannon. I miss templates, but they were also very finicky, and I can understand why they removed them. Oh, don't get me wrong, I love templates. I just understand why they were removed. I at least I miss scatter dice. I loved scatter dice. I don't know why. There was just something about them. They just soothed my soul, and I always enjoy any opportunity I get to use them. But you never got to use the Thudgood template. No. That was a very interesting one. That was the one that was like attached by like what they called, the pins, split pins, like you put in and split them apart. They were great until you had one of those beardy bastards with 3 lemon russes. That is very true. Yes, Heresy does still have templates and scatter dice, which is and the whippy sticks, the important whippy sticks. I do really like all of the Horus Heresy models. I do really look forward. You know, fuck it. Give me a second, because I'm just talking to you. Where am I? That was the wrong one. I might as well do this, so at least you've got something to look at. I'm sorry, it's me, is what you got to look at, and I haven't got the light on, but you just got to deal with it, haven't you? I really missed the randomness in 40k. Scattering templates was great. Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, they vastly reduced the randomness and stuff to just pure numerical randomness. Thank you, Longfang. There are, yes. It's Whip from Snipe Wib. Seen in my rare, I haven't brushed my hair because I didn't think I was going to be on camera mode. Not that my hair is ever unslightly messy, because it just naturally sits like that, which is very annoying. Yes, there are like 3 Baby Yodis in shot minimum. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3. I think that's all that's in shot. Yeah, the other one. Yeah, the only other ones, although there is one here and another one over here. Snipe likes the Baby Yoda. There is also a little Lego Razor Crest here as well, for there is always something Star Wars nearby. And yes, thank you, Longfang. Yes, there is new merch. You can see it on the merch link below, and subscribers now have access to 2 new emotes, which are Our Little Faith, which you can make appear at the side of the screen. You can make any emote appear at the side of the screen, which is fun. Maybe we should show off some of the merch on stream. Do people want to see me talk about the design process of the merch on stream? It's very complicated. You would never know what caused it. I didn't realise how serious the addiction was. It's true. It's true. Snipe really likes Mandalorian. There is actually one of the reasons why you can only see so much stuff here is that there is a dedicated shelf over there that's just literally full of Star Wars merch and mostly Mandalorian stuff. The most recent addition being a Boba Fett Bandai kit that Lynn gave to Snipe. I'm guessing it's Mothman merch. No, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, okay, sure. Let's just do the thing. I will show you what the actual merch is. Boom. There we go. So, this is the old merch. Enjoy the old merch. The new stuff, and there is a Mothman shirt which we had before. The new stuff is. We have this sprue shirt. I'll inform you that collection will grow in 7 to 10 business days. Good to know, Titan. Thank you. Yeah, there's a sprue shirt which, you know, is obviously based on Warhammer sprues. Everything is numbered, and it's numbered, and there's a faux squishmallow there. Fun fact: the base holes are actually made to be the right size for those to fit the slots to fit in, and all of the parts are numbered so that they go together. So Snipe is part 1, then their ponytail is part 2, and then their 2 arms are part 3 and 4. And I'm 5, 6, 7, and then 8 and 9 are the random accessories. Also, you might notice that you can't really see it on this slightly low res version from the preview, but the actual 9 and 6, I did make sure to have the little underline underneath them so you knew which way up they were supposed to be, just as a little touch. Then there's this, which unfortunately I really like this shirt. This is based on a design that Christian did at Christian Does Art on Twitter, who you should follow and commission because they are a very good egg who just let us use this design for free. I mean, I physically made the design, but they came up with the Autobot-y logo. But that does say Snipe and Wib in Cybertronian, by the way, if you're wondering what that says. I did check it, it is right. Yeah, only one of those are sold so far, but I really like it. I will probably be buying one of those just for myself, to be honest. And then we have this, which is the infamous one. This is what happens when Snipe is told that they can do whatever they want on a t-shirt. And they made this. And I had no idea if this would work, if people would find it funny, if it was, like how people would react. The way it turned out people would react is that they bought it most. This is the best-selling shirt of this run. It's like, oh, okay. Fair enough. My only input on this design was lining up some things and adding the colour to it. That's literally my level of input to it. Just prepping it for printing, and that was it. I forgot to mention actually. This also has a hoodie. This is another one that I kind of want to buy just for myself because it has a zip-up hoodie and it's just got a little Codex Compliant on the breast. I just thought that was really cool. I like that. There is also a Codex Compliant mug. That is because it's black, unfortunately, more expensive than the other merch. The other mugs, but what can you do? And then a couple of stickers, which are just generic stickers of stuff. But yeah, there you go. That is the new merch. I think it's quite fun. And I hope people enjoy it. Wait, have they? I'll need to investigate that. I think they might have added some price to that. I will need to go and check that. You are not supposed to see this. Do not tell anyone the things you have seen. Boom. I'm back. But yeah, yeah, so fun times. We hope, this is how we're going to sort of do the merch from now on, which is we're just going to put it up in kind of waves. So, because we thought, because we're always getting ideas for shirt designs and stuff. And we thought if we were just to bit and bob them and put them up, we'll put one at 1 month and then one in a couple of months, then it sort of means that if someone wants to buy something from it and if they like multiple shirts that we're constantly dripping and drabbing, then they're going to be paying multiple postage. And so we sort of thought if we release them in waves, then that means if anyone wants to buy multiple things, then they can do it all at once and lump packaging the postage together. Was sort of my thought. That feels like the least because I don't want anyone I don't want anyone to be exploited, it makes sense to me anyway. I realise that because of this little fan, I am getting a very slight wind tunnel effect. Like I'm in an 80s music video, but just half and half. Oh, actually, another thing, for anyone that hasn't happened to notice on the Patreon, if you are a patron of ours, there is a code that you can get on one of the I think it is the most recent post that will give you 10% off anything on the merch store, and that lasts until the end of the year. So there's no rush. So if you can't or don't want to buy something now, but you might want to buy something later, just make a note of what that code is, and you can use it later. Okay, actually, question. Is the Misanthropod officially on hiatus, or has it just been difficult to arrange recording and editing? Yes. The Misanthropod is not cancelled. We are trying to arrange currently when it's not 10 o'clock at night. I'll be sending a message to Matt tomorrow, because we've been trying to arrange it and trying to pin him down to a day. He has 2 small children, so I am again not going to judge him for not being as free as he once was. I think it's got worse because we slowed down how we release them, so it kind of slips out of thing. It's actually been ages since we've done a podcast at all, apart from the Podcasters quiz episode, which was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. Didn't do as bad as I assumed. If you didn't watch that, the most recent, well, not the most recent, but the 150th Adeptus Podcasters was a quiz format where Snipe and I were against Norn Queen Alexis and Tactica Imperialis, answering 40k trivia questions. And considering that Snipe and I have long maintained that we only remember stuff in like 40k stuff for as long as it takes to make a video about it, and then poof, it disappears from our minds, I think we did quite well, even though we did look out and get a lot of the easier questions. Although I was happy there was a couple of questions that were that were a little bit more esoteric, and I was like, aha, reading all these old books for a living has actually helped me. All of these old books that we had to buy a bigger bookshelf for because it's getting a little extreme. But yeah. Anyone else have any other topics they wish to natter about? Because I'm happy to just natter. If people are enjoying me just nattering, I don't know. I don't even know what content is anymore. I don't know what people like. Like, the channel's been doing a little bit rough recently, like in terms of views, and I don't know why. I can point some fingers towards the fact that we've done some fairly esoteric episodes of Codex Compliant, but like, it's never been an issue before. But the topic is Wib should go to bed. I am fine, sleep-wise, do not worry. Wib, I'm actually making a new closet because I have a lot of armies for 40k. Understandable. We have very little shelf space. Well, indeed, basically no shelf space in this flat. So we had to buy when we did one of the recent sponsored videos, basically the money for that went to go and buy furniture so that we would have, including that bookcase, so we would have room to put more stuff. It's actually a bit chock up there at the moment because I had to put a bunch of stuff up there to keep it out of the hotter parts of the room during the heat wave. Men with funny heads. Men with funny heads will return someday. It's just finding the time beer when both Longfang and myself have the time and mental space to do it. I see you, Longfang. You have a good rest. I will not be far behind you. Don't worry. But yeah, I keep meaning to. Yeah, I need to try and organise that. I do enjoy Men with Funny Heads. I enjoy that. I also enjoy that it's the one thing that I do that my dad is like really into. Like, my dad, bless him, watches a lot of the bullshit we put up. So he knows what we do. He doesn't understand a lot of it, but he's very supportive. But the one thing he like just unreservedly just really likes that we do is Men with Funny Heads, because he's where I get my like sci-fi like love from. And the whole name of the podcast. By the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I presume you do, but Longfang and I do a podcast, or did, still do, technically, never cancelled, just haven't done one in like a year. But yeah, Men with Funny Heads is a podcast. It's currently not on Spotify anymore because we hadn't done any for so long. We didn't. Because we weren't uploading episodes and we were having to pay for it every month, and it was starting to add up, and to not put it up. So it's not currently a podcast you can listen to on Spotify or anything like that. It's not on any streaming. It's not like on podcast things, but it is on YouTube. The archive of like the 14 episodes we did are all on YouTube, so they are listenable through that. If we start up again, I'll probably reactivate the RSS feed, and so you'll be able to listen to them all again. But you know, there's a limit to the amount of things you can pay for hosting on, you know. But yeah, it was a sci-fi podcast where we just talked about movies and TV shows, and just like we'd talk about an episode or a couple of episodes, and just run through it and talk about it and what we thought about it. And we did a few episodes where we did like run-throughs of like we like put votes of like sci-fi ships up on Twitter, and then got like a ranking based on that, and so we go through like the top ships as voted for by Twitter, which was really fun. I enjoyed the podcast, but they are I would like to do it again. It's a cool podcast. Could a cybergrot army be workable like grots, but they're all robots? Even though I'd need to find robot-looking goblins. Well, yes, is the short answer because I've seen it done. It depends what you want to do with them, really. If you just want to make like a regular grot army, but you want to use cyber, you want to just have them be cybergrots, then you can just do a lot of conversion work. You can pop them on. You can just scratch build little bodies for them. It's actually surprisingly easy because they're so small. You can just cobble a bunch of stuff together, and it kind of works. If you want to go bigger, what I kind of want to do, but it's really expensive, and that's why I haven't, is, you know, the Mechanicum robots that are like spindly and have like swords for hands. Actually, there's Mechanicus versions as well, aren't there? But those kind of robots, of just do a head swap with them with goblins, and just have them as like robo-goblins like that. I thought that could be a fun idea. You can just do stuff like that. And there are plenty of people who do like 3D printed sculpts for like mega knobs, but they're mega grots. I've got a couple that Modhail printed out for me. That I just swapped the heads for GW Gretchen to just make it match my army a little bit better. But yeah, no, they're really nice sculpts. As rough as the ship voting via Twitter could be, I especially like the ship ranked videos of Men with Funny Heads. I love democracy, yes. I did enjoy those. I don't know if I'm trying to think of anything else that we could really do that for that has enough ships in it that we're familiar enough with to like do. I guess like at a stretch Babylon 5, but like there isn't that many ship designs. And certainly not many you get a super good look at, and most of them aren't actually great. Is it just me, or are the Grogu's multiplying? Always. Anytime every time I turn that light off, one more appears in the room. It's terrible. I suppose we could do a 40k one, but we try not to do. We try not to like bring the 40k stuff into Men with Funny Heads because I talk about Warhammer for a living, so it's nice to have avenues where you don't. Hence why I do the Transformers reviews these days. Which I need to get on the next one actually. Just the heat and workload of regular channel videos has just meant that I haven't been able to do one this month, which is a pity. Although, admittedly, my next Transformers project is a very serious one, and this is what I'm going to leave you on, because I am just waffling, and I really appreciate that how many of you have stayed to just listen to me waffle. I genuinely appreciate that you sticking with me. It does wonders for my ego. But my next Transformers-related project that I am going to work on is not a video, but it is that I've got it into my head that I think it would be really funny if I just put googly eyes on different Transformers and see which ones look stupidest. This is what me, a man who in less than a month turns 36, is doing with his time, when he should be working on things that actually pay his bills. There's something in my brain that says, no, put googly eyes on Megatron. I'm a very normal person, as you can see. I'll thank you for the follow there, Steel Titan. Transformers, but designed by Rare. Yes, probably. Oh, speaking of that, also, he's not here now, but everyone say thank you to Longfang, because he just randomly got me Kickback, the new Legacy Kickback, who is quite fun. He transforms, like, to say he transforms is like an exaggeration, as in you put the wings like that, and then you turn the head around and flip up this little cover, and then it's just splaying out his arms so they become bug feet, and pulling out extra bug feet at the back. And there you go. He is a grasshopper, but he's still basically just a bloke, which is quite funny. It's very true to the G1 toy, which is fun. But he is like, as far as transformations go, there isn't actually much to it, but it is buoyed by the fact that he is very cute. And as I have stated on many occasions, I will put up with basically any flaw with a Transformer if it's quite cute. Because that's the most important thing about Transformers, is that they should be cute. Apparently. So goes my theory of Transformers. Anyway, I'll leave you lovely folks be. So thank you very much for sticking with me. And glad you liked this this unconventional stream. We'll have to do it again sometime. And let us have a look and see if there is anyone to raid. You listen to one politics stream and suddenly your recommended channels are full of politics streamers. Okay, looks like we're gonna be no worries, Opus. Let us raid our good old pal Zoran. For he is a very good egg, and is currently playing Total War Attila. So, you folks go say hello to him, and I bid you all good day, good night, take care of each other.